Current takes the finals. Oh, it's absolute scenes here in the British Pokemon League. Oh my god. Wait. Bonga, baby. No. Fisher lands again! Fisher picks up the... Hello everybody and welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. For some odd reason my webcam is pointing down. Let's fix that real quick while we get started. Hello everybody, how are you all doing? We are here at week number 5. It is the final week before our free agent trades get announced. We will get to them at the very end of the show, don't you worry, once we get through all of today's matches. Before we get into today's matches and get onto the show, we do have some sad news for you all to bring you. So you may have noticed last week, unfortunately, Latvian was unavailable to play his game, so instead we had our coaches Aaron and Crizzle play out the match between Dogsy and Latvian. I will hydrate for you, Dogsy. Unfortunately, Latvian, our Season 1 champion, is unable to continue in Season 3 of the British Pokemon League due to work and life commitments. We have a lot of special memories when it comes to Latvian. You know, as I said, our Season 1 champion is one of the most standout, down-to-earth, greatest guys I've ever come across. And we do very much looking forward to having him back in a future season of the British Pokemon League. But for now, he's got to take a short break, and we welcome our brand new player, Niels, the coach of the Scuba Squirtles, to the British Pokemon League. So I hope you all give him a very big British Pokemon League welcome to Niels. And we will see how he does in his match later on, in his debut match in the British Pokemon League. But without further ado, let's take a look at the league table going into week number 5. So still sat atop of the British Pokemon League, it is Aaron and his Inglorious Surfers. Can anyone take him down? Can anyone break him off that massive perch that he's on over everyone in the British Pokemon League? Closely followed behind Southcross and So's, Space City PC, Tyrant and Tyrants, and Shadow Kings, all on that 3-1 record. Looking very, very close in that top 6. Cannot be split by absolutely anything. So, you know, still anyone's guess as who could make it and win the regular season. But it's going to be very exciting to see how it goes as we close in on that business end of the season. Down there in 6, we've got the Long Island Goomies getting back to winning ways last week over Draco's Swindon Rookies, so it moves up into the top half of the table. Then in 7th place, we have got Niels and his Scuba Squirtles, obviously taking over that Miami Heat spot that was once occupied by Latvian. Then we've got the Swindon Rookies and Newcastle Thunder, so Newcastle Thunderers obviously losing out to Tyrants last week in a match we didn't see, and unfortunately we will never see. But let me tell you, it was one hell of a match. For those of the people who did see it, will I'm sure will agree with me. But Dave, unable to build upon that win over Jabba the previous week, so he'll be looking to bounce back in this week's matchup. Draco with another loss, as we said, to the Goomies last week. Jabba's nice to Sidonia, losing out in a very close affair to Aaron's Inglorious Surface last week, so making good of account of himself, but also drops down the table. And then at the very bottom, we have got the Wobbuffet Ninjas and California Bastions, both losing out in a 2-0 fashion last week. So all on the 1-3 record and really needing a win as we close in on that second half of the season, or that those playoff spots are going to get way too out of reach for those guys, and it's going to be one hell of a job for them. But let's take a look at our week 5 schedule then. So we have got 2 6-pointers, relegation 6-pointers to kick things off this week. Starting things off, we have got the Newcastle Thunderers taking on Oma's California Bastion. So as we said, both losing out last week and both very much in need of a win. As we said, need to keep pace with those in that top 8 and make sure they don't get relegated to our brand new second division next season, which you will see, as I said, next season in Season 4. Then we've got the Swindon Rookies taking on the Wobbuffet Ninjas, both losing out last week. So again, both really needing that victory as we move into that mid-season point. You know, this is a rematch of our losers round 1 from season 2 playoffs, so going to be an exciting one, this one. Our third match of the week, it is first versus third. It is Aaron's Inglorious Surfers taking on Meme Base God Space City PC. Meme, look, as we said, Aura's already looking very, very strong. How well is that Sun team going to match up against Aaron's Sword Doggo? We'll certainly find out in that matchup. It's going to be an exciting one. I'm telling you, they're going to put on a show. Our fourth match of the week, it is Dogsy Shadow Kings versus Long Island Gummies. These two have not faced off against each other since season 1. Another matchup that got split last season thanks to the East and West division being a thing. So that ought to be a very exciting one. Then it is the United Sidonia taking on the South Croydon Saws. Jabba going to be looking to try and get back to winning ways after, you know, pushing Aaron all the way last week. And Crizzle aiming to build upon that victory over the Ninjas last week. And finally, to round off the Week 5 action, we have got Silver's Tyranitar Tyrant taking on Neil's Scuba Squirtle. So the Tyrants with another strong victory last week. Can they continue this excellent form and start a life in the British Pokemon League? We'll certainly see. But let's kick things off. Our first game of the week, it is the Newcastle Thunderers taking on the California Bastiodons. You know, Dave may have lost last week, but I think he'll even admit that he's starting to get a lot more comfortable with this team, and it is really starting to gel and come together. You know, it is so bulky. You know, if you play way too passively against this team, it is going to just start dropping your stats, stalling you out, and generally just being an annoyance, as a lot of people have found, Jabba especially. And Dave really seems to be coming to terms with this team, and it's really great to see him, you know, looking pretty solid with this lineup. So keep an eye out. Of course, that Incineroar is always going to be a menace, and as well as the Suicune. Those two tend to be the, you know, most common duos that Dave tends to lead out with. Ferrothorn as well, of course, with that Leech Seed, Iron Defense can be such a problem, you know, for teams just slowly chipping away at that health. And, you know, okay, it has a fire weakness, but as well, you know, it's got Rocky Helmet, and typically he runs it with Rocky Helmet, and of course the Iron Barb's ability as well means you make physical contact with this one is going to do some chip damage away at you as well, so very much an annoying one to deal with. And of course we've got Lele as well there with the Psychic Terrain, not something that Dave's used too much of. You know, it doesn't really lend itself to leading with the likes of Incineroar and stuff with that fake out pressure. And of course Runerigus as well, another really, really bulky mon, along with Dialga as well, his Dave's legendary, both super bulky and lend themselves very well to this team, and have ability to drop stats. And of course Dave's favourite, Mr. Lantern himself. You know, we haven't seen it in a couple of weeks, but could be a matchup where this one, where Lantern makes an appearance. You know, there's a few fire types on Orma's team where, you know, Lantern could prove to be quite useful. As well as Probo Pass as well, you know, just for that wide guard pressure on some of Orma's mons. You know, the Rock Slide on the Aerodactyl and the Mind Blown on the Blacephalon could be quite a problem for Dave's team. So something to look out for. Over on Orma's side then, it's just not really been gelling too well for Orma thus far this season. We've already spoke a little bit about the few problems his team have, you know, have had thus far. But, you know, as I've always said, I always maintain Orma is a very talented player, a talented coach, and he can get the best out of that team despite its, you know, its shortcomings. Look out for that Mega Metagross with that Tough Claws ability. You know, that bullet punches can really hit hard and really hurt as well. So always, you know, something to keep an eye out, as well as that Solgaleo as well. If, you know, set up next to the Aerodactyl, can get a Bulldoze set off. Clear Body won't drop its speed stats, and with Weakness Policy, Solgaleo is going to get its special attack and attack buffed up as well. We have seen a little bit of Garchomp in recent weeks as well as Comfey, and Comfey, you know, is probably the most solid support mon in the format right now, you know, with that Floral Healing and Giga Drain, you know, getting priority thanks to that Triage ability. Really, really lends itself very well to this team. You know, and you know, it makes it very difficult to deal with. If you don't one-shot these Pokemon, it's going to just heal them Pokemon right back up, and all of a sudden, you're back to square one. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's get in this one. It is the Newcastle Thunderers taking on California Bastiodons, and Orma leading the line with the Garchomp and the Aerodactyl. Now, of course, has the Mega Metagross, Comfey, Blacephalon, and Riolu in the back. Dave kicking things off as we expected. Incineroar and Suicune. Incineroar getting those attack drops on Garchomp and Aerodactyl, has the Runerigus, Dialga, Drampa, Probo Pass in the back. So the physical attack drops on Aerodactyl and Garchomp are not really appreciated by either of those. You know, both stout physical attackers, so that's already a good start for Dave. Suicune, is going to be able to apply some good pressure there with either something like a Snarl or potentially Tailwind to get some speed control for Div, knowing how fast Aerodactyl is. What you would expect to go for a Protect potentially on the Aerodactyl here, just to block the fake out from that Incin. Incin's always going to be looking to fake out this first turn. Maybe you can look at going for a parting shot in the turns afterwards, but that's just the pressure it puts on. But Garchomp and Aerodactyl both have moves that could pressure this Incin. Raw Faker goes into the Aerodactyl's there. Aerodactyl finish with Draco Meteor from Garchomp, so it's a special Garchomp then, so wouldn't it be affected by that Incin. But the Ice Beam from the Suicune is going to take out the Garchomp, and already Dave takes an advantage into this one then for V3. So you can take them out, and now in comes the Mega Metagross then for Orma. So this is where you can start to get some damage dealt, a Tailwind away free from the Aerodactyl. Give the Metagross that speed control it needs. And something like, a Body Press or Stomping Tantrum or even an Earthquake. Aerodactyl's not going to take any effects from that Earthquake. Could be really, really big here. Mega Metagross has super bulky stats. And Dave needs to sort of just be aware of, Incin's bulky, but probably not bulky enough to to live through an Earthquake or a Stomping Tantrum. Suicune, on the other hand, I would imagine, should be able to comfortably live it. Freezer Helmet Hand comes out from the Suicune. There's the Earthquake from the Aerodactyl, so it's going to hit into that Mega Metagross, and Mega Metagross doesn't go for its Mega. So that was a mistake on Orma's side, but the Flare Blitz is going to take it out regardless. So, that was a mistake on Orma's side. He was supposed to Mega there, so I do apologise on behalf of Orma for that one, but not that it mattered anyway, as Metagross did bounce out. Actually, the footage is freezing there, but we're back in. So Incin doing a large sum of damage there, and it's now all up to Comfort and Aerodactyl against this lead duo of Dave's. Suicune and Incin just proving to be a powerful duo against what Orma kicked off. Giga Drain does come out from the Comfort, so that's going to just Suicune. The Thunderfang misses on the Suicune. There's a Scald in the Aerodactyl, and Aerodactyl goes down, and Suicune just absolutely being a menace. His parting shot comes out from the Incin. Incin's going to bounce back out now, and now it's all up to Comfort in the 1v4, and this one already looks all but over. This first game is now Runerigus bounces in. Runerigus, we've seen him run Stealth Rock on that Runerigus. This Giga Drain just come out from that Comfort. We know that Runerigus has Trick Room. There's the Snarl as well to drop the Comfort special attack even more. There's the Will-O-Wisp from the Runerigus just to do that little bit of chip damage away. Those Giga Drains now going to be harshly affected by that special attack drops in the Comfort. Not really much of a special attacker anyway. And yeah, the Giga Drain's really not doing a lot, and there's the Suicune getting a Scald off. Shadow Claw comes out from the Runerigus. That Comfort is just about gone. This is going to be 1-0 to Dave. So Dave making a brilliant start to this match against the California Bastiodons. Not even having to get any spit. Only going for the floral healing there. Snarl is going to take Comfort down to 3%. The Shadow Claw is going to finish it off. Dave takes this one, and Orma drops that first game and leaves himself with a mountain to climb in this game too. Just proving how strong that Suicune and Incin was. Dave has Comfort and Mega Metagross lead this time for Orma, and it's Incin and Runerigus this time for Dave. So Metagross obviously not affected by the Incin thanks to that clear body. Comfort is going to take an attack drop, but it's not going to really care too much about that. But so Runerigus this time, seeing that there's a bit of a ghost type weakness on Orma's team, especially that Metagross. Both Incin and Runerigus can be able to pressure the Metagross here. He does go for a Mega this time, but gets protected. Giga Drain comes out from the Comfort. That's special effective against the Runerigus, and the Flare Blitz comes out from the Incin, so no fake out this time. And the Runerigus going for that Will-O-Wisp on the Metagross, just try and have that damage to stop that Metagross from being out of control. And then Dave's going to need to take care of this Mega Metagross. As we said in the team previews, if you let this thing live, Comfort's just going to heal it right back up. So move on into turn number 2. Shadow Claw and the Flare Blitz would probably be enough to take out the Metagross. Orma could maybe try switching. There's the Body Press on the Incin, but it doesn't do enough. After you fails on the Comfort, not a good reach. There, the Flare Blitz almost taking the Mega Metagross out, and there's the Will-O-Wisp from the Runerigus. Is the burn damage going to be enough? No, it doesn't quite take Mega Metagross out, but it's not really going to be able to do all that much now. thanks to that ban. This thing is pretty much dead on its feet. Just really controlling this one, just been such a menace for Orma already. Just doesn't seem to have the tools to deal with it, and I've said that body press just not doing anywhere near enough to Incin. It's a bulky boy. Incin swaps out. There's this weakened Floral Healing. He's going to get Metagross back up to half HP. There's the Bullet Punch not doing anywhere near for Runerigus, but the Wandering Spirit is going to give the Runerigus Tough Claws as it Will-O-Wisps the Comfort as well. So Runerigus now has Tough Claws and Metagross. Then it's just giving that Runerigus a bit of a boost to its physical contact moves there, you know, like the Shadow Claw. Not what you want to see, and I said that a Bullet Punch just not doing anywhere near enough to Runerigus. You know, Runerigus is one hell of a bulky boy, as is a lot of Dave's team. You know, it is bulk or us. No Mons down just yet, but the Mega Metagross is going to switch out. There's the Aerodactyl. Giga Drain comes out from the Comfort into Suicune. It's going to give Comfort a bit more health back, and there's the Snarl. It does miss the Comfort, but it gets a bit of chip damage away, and the Aerodactyl breaks that sash. There's the Shadow Claw from the Runerigus. Not quite enough to take out the Aerodactyl, but that's some good damage away on Dave's side. Orma with a half HP Mega Metagross, under half HP Aerodactyl. Floral Healing comes out from the Aerodactyl. Sorry, there's the Thunder Fang. It's not doing enough. That Suicune. There's the Skull. That is going to take out the Aerodactyl, and there is the first one down in Dave's favour. And Runerigus gets a Trick Room up as well to boot. And now it's very much advantage Dave in this game too. A little bit less one-sided this time round. Orma playing a little bit more conservatively. Mega Metagross now switches back in. And Will-O-Wisp from the Runerigus just proven to be so clutch in this situation. You know, something he had to go for. There's the Shadow Claw from the Runerigus. That's going to take out the Mega Metagross. There's the Snarl, the Comfort to drop its special attack. And it is now all up to whatever Orma's got in the back and Comfort against all four of Dave's monsters. Blacephalon now switches in. So what has this got in its locker? Typically you see a Choice Specs Mind Blown or Choice Scarf Mind Blown or Overheat, something like that, or a Shadow Ball potentially could be running on there. But Trick Room is up on Blacephalon. Is a very fast monster. Runerigus is in a great spot here to be able to take out Blacephalon. And the more that Comfort special attack drops, the less that Giga Drain is doing, and it's the only really offensive threat it can sort of provide onto Dave's team. The Protect comes out from Blacephalon there. The Giga Drain just not doing anywhere near the Suicune. Shadow Ball. I think that Blacephalon does get protected. There is the Snarl. That's going to drop the special attack of the Comfort even more. So again, Dave just completely walling Orma's team. And this one looks done. It's 2 turns of Trick Room left, but I don't see what Comfort can do. And Blacephalon is, you had to go for the double protector. There's the Giga Drain comes out and the Suicune just drops it below half HP. There's a Shadow Claw. That's going to take out Blacephalon. Gets the crit as well. Not that it needed it. There's the Snarl and the Comfort to drop the special attack even more. Ben just doing that. Even more and more chip damage away as leftovers. Takes Suicune back up to half HP. This one's going to be done. Dave is going to take the 2-0 over California Bastiodon's Orma. There's a Shadow Claw. Doing not quite enough. There's a Snarl, takes it down to 14% HP. Drop that special attack just slightly more, not that it needed it. As we move on to 10, number 10, this next turn is going to be in, I think. Floral Healing comes out again for the Comfort. There's Orma admitting defeat, and there is the 2-0, and Dave gets another win under his belt over Orma and his California Bastiodons. GG's to both guys. Damn. No mons down for Dave there at all. It was 2 4-0s. Absolutely fantastic stuff there from Dave. As you said, he's just looking more and more comfortable with his team and looking more and more difficult to stop. You know, there's so much bulk there that, you know, what do you do? Yeah, hello Dave. That was good timing. Yeah, he's really getting it together this season, and I'm really happy to just see him just really enjoying himself with this team. Unlucky on Orma's side. I think it didn't match up particularly well. I don't think the special attack in Garchomp was the way to go. you know, it was always going to be difficult facing off against the Instinct this week, knowing the Instinct had that in him. It was going to get its attack drop, but, you know, maybe a White Herb or something could have, you know, counteracted that and allowed Garchomp to do something. I don't know. It was always a difficult starting matchup for Orma. I think probably try to do his best and just try to throw Dave off with a special attacking Garchomp, but the Draco Meteor not doing anywhere near enough. So Dave making a brilliant start and kicking us off with a 2-0. On our next match then, it is the Swindon Rookadies taking on the Wobbuffet Ninjas. As we attributed to earlier, these two faced each other in the losers round 1 of Season 2 playoffs, with then known as the Bully Boys taking out what they were then known as the Celtic Celebies in a 2-1 fashion. Incredibly close games. Like game 3 especially was very, very intense. So expecting a good one out of these two guys as well. Last week was not a fun one. I think it was really close games with Chris, and I think on another day I feel like it could have won that, and that's not to discredit Chris at all. Chris deserved the win at the end of the day and got the 2-0, but I think on another day could have won a lot differently. But you know, these things happen. We live in LAN, and I think you know, this team's very these teams match up against each other really, really well. That Lunala, you know, it looked to be positioned in quite a scary place next facing off against like Yveltal, but if the Ninjas are able to, you know, stop Yveltal in its tracks, or, you know, any kind of sort of ally switch or something that takes the, you know, dark type pressure away from, you know, that Lunala, could work really well just to get Trick Room up. You know, I think speed control is going to be very, very important in this matchup, especially with all the Ninjas' heavy hitters being as slow as the eye. You know, the Melmetal, Volcanion, Serena, your Electros, you know, things like that, all super slow. Only really the Mega Swampert, which obviously paired next to the Politoed, is going to benefit from that round with the Swift Swim, and Kangaskhan as well, you know, and Bolton, both pretty good speed tiers as well. But you know, Kangaskhan has been very much a surprise package for the Ninjas. You know, we knew how good Kangaskhan was. We've seen it in the last 2 seasons of the league on Latvians teams. But you know, this thing is really sort of, I think it's really been the saviour of this Ninjas team thus far. It's performed when the Ninjas have needed it to, and you know, just applying that fake out pressure next to the Lunala. So it could be something good to bring in this game against the Rookadies, just to enable that speed control to go. Over on Draco's side though, as we said there, the Yveltal I think is going to be massively important in this matchup, as well as something like the Genesect as well. You know, those Techno Blasts, it runs the right drive on that thing, you know, like a Burn Drive or something, facing off against the likes of that Melmetal, the Serena. That Techno Drive is going to be able to do really good, like big damage, especially if he gets his special tampus off something off the download. Mega D Ansi as well could be useful here as well with its spread moves. You know, even, you know, if just to break the Shadow Shield on the Lunala could be really, really important. Whether or not the Koko would come here, I'm not sure. You know, not too much, if any, sort of major electric type weakness on the team outside of Volcanion and Politoed, so I think Koko would stay at home here. But something like the Drifblim and the Koko could be quite useful here. You know, you just get the Drifblim with its Unburden with Electric Seed, not only give it a physical defense boost, which would be really useful in this matchup. There's a lot of physical attackers on that Ninjas team, you know, and Drifblim can get speed control set up that way as well. I would think Cottony is going to lead the line for the Rookadies as well. I've seen a lot of times for Swindon. You know, it applies such good status move pressures with its Prankster ability. You know, it's got Tailwind, it's got Fake Tears, things like that. You know, so it's going to be really useful here. And rounding out the rest of the team, of course, we've got Zygarde 10%. We've got Mr. Mime, we've got Ferret, and of course we've got Monferno. But anyways, guys, let's get into this one. It is the Swindon Rookadies taking on the Wobbuffet Ninjas then. So on Draco's side, he's got the Yveltal, Cottony, the Volcarona, Genesect, Mega D Yancy, and the Tapu Koko is there. And over on the side of the Ninjas, it is Lunala, Kangaskhan, so both of them leading the line. It is Hatterene, Serena, Melmetal, and Sableye in the back. So it is, as said, that Cottony and Yveltal kicking off for the Rookadies. Kangaskhan then going to just, even if it doesn't go off the fake out, it is going to be able to provide that fake out pressure that's maybe going to force Draco into having to go for a protect here. And Lunala may well be just safe to get a Trick Room off. As the protect comes out from the Yveltal, Tailwind goes up from the Cottony, but Trick Room comes out from the Lunala. So fake out blocked by that protect, but the Trick Room goes up anyway, and now Draco's in one hell of a position and needs to reverse that Trick Room or try and stall it out. Because now his Mons are going super fast and the speed settings are reversed, so that Lunala and Kangaskhan are always going to go first. And Lunala comes out with the Ice Beam, that does some good damage to Yveltal, and the double edge is going to take out the Yveltal, and there is advantage to the ninjas. And that's not a great start for Draco. As I said, he needs to stall out this speed and stall out this Trick Room if he has any chance of bringing this back as the Volcarona switches in place of the falling Yveltal. Cottony as well, potentially. I'm not too sure if Cottony gets Trick Room, obviously I know it gets Tailwind. I'm not sure if it gets Trick Room like its Evolve form Whimsicott does, but if it does, somebody could look to run to try and reverse it. Sunny Day comes out the Cottony, there's the Moongeist Beam into the Volcarona, and that takes it down about half HP. There's a double edge, it's going to get the job done though, and Kangaskhan, Lunala's just chipping things away, and Kangaskhan is just cleaning up the sloppy seconds at this point. Now Genesect now switches in as Draco's last hope with 1 turn of Tailwind left, 2 turns of Trick Room, and this one could be over early doors then, as just the ninjas making a super offensive start with Trick Room setup. And Draco just doesn't seem to have an answer at the moment. Maybe Protect comes out here, in this turn. Try and get something going. Hamilton comes out from the Cottony. There's the Moongeist Beam and the Genesect. He almost takes out the Genesect. Double Edge is going to get the job done though. And now it's all left all up to Cottony, and the ninjas are going to look to take this first game on turn number 5. So great start there from the ninjas. And there it is. There is the 1-0 lead. And Rupert then got one hell of a hill to climb now to try and get this one back. Great start there from the ninjas, as Draco, as we expected, does switch things up as the Mega Diancie and the Volcarona, and the ninjas switching things up as well. Lunala does stick, but Hatterene now comes in as well. So 2 Trick Room setters. Hatterene obviously going to be the slowest thing on the field here. Hatterene known for being very, very slow. And it's not known for its speed. It gets there when it gets there. Not in any rush, just does what it does. Obviously we don't see that Diancie go for its Mega. May go for something like a Binding Storm just to ensure if one of these monsters protected it gets some damage off. But Draco's going to have to choose wisely which to go into, because of course one of these could protect, while the other one Trick Room, so going to have to be careful not to double in as the Protectors come out from the Lunala. There is the Moonblast from the Mega Diancie and the Fiery Dance and the Volcarona. That's going to allow the Hatterene to get Trick Room up, and Trick Room does go up now. So Lunala and Hatterene in a great spot here. Protect comes out from the Volcarona, Protect comes out from the Mega Diancie, so Draco playing it a bit different. There's a Magic Powder, it gets blocked by that Mega Diancie, so that's some good information there for Draco. Moongeist being blocked on that Mega Diancie as well. So burn for a Protector that has burned 1 turn of Trick Room at least. So Magic Powder of course does change that Mon's typing to Psychic, so paired with that Lunala with his Moongeist Beam means it's going to be able to do super effective damage to whatever they're facing down, but ninjas are going to have to be careful because of course the Magic Bounce is on that Mega Diancie, so you have to be careful not to go into the slot as the Magic Powder goes into that Volcarona. There is the Moongeist Beam. Is it going to do enough? It does 75% damage. Cirrus Berry is going to take it back up to half HP. There is the Moonblast. Just chips away at that Lunala and obviously breaks that Shadow, breaks its ability, and it does drop the special attack as well. So that's important for Draco's side to stop that Lunala from doing as much damage. It might save the Volcarona here as well. Cirrus Berry taking it back up to half HP. But that Shadow Shield is now broken on Lunala. There's the Rage Powder again. The Dazzling Gleam comes out, doing a bit of chip damage away at Diancie and away to the Volcarona, but that Moongeist Beam is going to take out the Volcarona, and it is advantage to the ninjas. There's the Moonblast as well, doing some more good damage away to Lunala. And there's 1 turn left of Trick Room, so Draco now can potentially go for a double Protect here just to stall out this last turn in Trick Room and leave itself wide open to be able to take out one of these mons here. But of course it is 2 Trick Rooms on these mons. So we saw Lunala had it in game 1 and Hatterene has it here. As Genesect switch in, gets the download physical attack boost, so with that thing special attacking, it's not really the boost that Draco is going to have wanted, but could be running a physical set because his physical and special attack both about the same. Protect comes out from the Mega Diancie, and the Genesect Trick Room comes out from the Hatterene, but Trick Room comes out for the Lunala as well, and that is going to reset the Trick Room, and Trick Room now has another 4 turns to go, so graced up there from the ninjas to give themselves speed control once again for another couple of turns, and now Draco has wasted, has been through another lot of those protects, but the Magic Pounce, Ninja's going for that Magic Powder into the Mega Diancie. Moonblast is going to take out that Lunala, and that changes Hatterene's typing to Psychic, but the Iron Head there into the Hatterene, perhaps that typing change has just saved the Hatterene as well, so it is now at least evens. It's 3v3. 3 turns left of Trick Room. Potentially another double protect here from Draco. He's just got to try and stall it out as best he can. As soon as that Hatterene is taken care of, then there's no more Trick Room setters for the ninjas. Dazzling Gleam comes out from the Hatterene. There is the double Iron Bash from the Melmet, of course, both blocked by them protects. Looks like Ninja's going for the same moves as well. Again, 2 more turns of Trick Room to go. There's the Dazzling Gleam. It's going to do enough as the Iron Bash is going to take out Mega Diancie, and the Leech Life is going to take out the Hatterene. That's going to take the Genesect back up to full HP. It is 2v2 with 1 turn left of Trick Room then, as Yveltal now switches in. 2v2 with 1 more turn of Trick Room. We know both these ones have Protect that it's facing off with, and both the Trick Room ones are now down from the ninjas, so that Kangaskhan might have some speed with that Melmet. It is going to be the slowest thing on the field, and neither of those ones have any kind of fire move, especially the Yveltal. Not known for its special defense. The kind of special fire move is going to really hit hard and hurt, of course. There is the double protect. Stalls out that final turn of Trick Room, and now Trick Room is gone. The ball very much in Draco's court now. Not able to get the pick up. There's the Iron Head, that does some very good damage away. Kangaskhan, there's the Dark Pulse into Melmet, also good damage away there as well. There's the Double Edge, takes the Yveltal down to below half HP, and the Double Iron Bash is going to take out Yveltal. Is now a 1v2, Kangaskhan on 5% HP. They could come down to a 1v1 here in this final, potentially this final game of this match. All up to Genesect, and it is physical Genesect, so it's gonna really benefit from that attack boost. That's why that Iron Head did so much to Kangaskhan. Only just hanging on from that and the double edge recoil. Excuse me. What has the Genesect got to deal with Melmet? Well, there's the extreme speed that does take out the Kangaskhan. Then there's the Thunder Punch. No paralysis, but does take the Genesect down low, down to 55% HP. Both on around about the same HP then. So what has Genesect got in his locker to deal with Melmet then? Melmet, of course, with very big defenses, physical defenses and HP. So Genesect not in an ideal situation here. Iron Head though, maybe going for the flinches. There's the double Iron Bash. Is it going to get the job done? It does. And the ninjas take this one 2-0 then. Get back to winning ways. GG's to my man, Mr. Draco. That was a really fun one. Very happy I got to use the Magic Powder on the Hatterene. That was the main reason why I picked it up. I know it's a fun Trick Room setter and Trick Room one as well, but the fact it has that move, especially with Lunala, yeah, it's so much fun. I'm gonna admit that. Well, I'm gonna say that the Magic Powder into Diancie was on purpose. It was to change my type to Psychic, obviously. Whether you believe that or not, that's up to you. But yeah, that was a really fun match, and it's good to get back to winning ways as well. As of course, GG's to Draco. Moves to 1-4, meanwhile the Ninjas moving to a 2-3 record as we move into the halfway point On to our third game of week 5 then. It is Inglorious Surfers taking on Memes Space City PC then. So Surfers getting the 2-1 win over Jabba last week, and Space City getting back to winning ways as well. So this could be a very, very close one, you know. These two teams, very, very strong. Two very strong coaches. Said Memes made a very, very good start to life in the British Pokemon League thus far. You know, we said in recent weeks just how strong that Groudon and Mega Charizard Y is, and Aaron is always going to be thinking about them both in the back of his mind. You know, and both of those have great, you know, synergy with other mons in the team. You know, with obviously Venusaur gets that Chlorophyll, which is going to benefit from either Groudon or Mega Charizard being next to it. And of course Cherrim as well with the Flower Gift not only is going to activate that Flower Gift ability, but then it's going to be able to give, you know, physical attack boost to that Groudon. And, you know, it's going to make it one hell of a beast to deal with. And of course we've seen just how strong Umbreon can be. We saw against Oma last week, you know, how many attacks this thing can live. It is so bulky, and with those snarls and stat drops, it's really troublesome. Keep an eye out for Togekiss as well. Of course, in this format, which we've mentioned before, it does get Tailwind and a few extra status moves as well that make it quite a problematic one to deal with. You know, hella bulky. And of course, Rotom Wash as well as Mienshao. Both pretty good support ones, and that Rotom Wash as well, outside of Sun, can be quite difficult to deal with. Over on Aaron's team then, I mean, you know, has proven that he's not just quite a one-trick pony. Brought a few different things to Jabba's game last week. Now, Stantler proving more than on its own that it can be, you know, annoying, hitting all those Hypnoses, and of course as well that Marowak as well, being a nuisance with his Lightning Rod. Could we see the Marowak here? I don't know. It depends how much Aaron thinks that Rotom Wash is a threat. We will certainly see. Keep an eye out for that Marshadow as well, of course, with that Shadow Sneak Technician boosted Shadow Sneak. Can do some big damage as well as his signature move, Spectral Thief. But I would think Aaron is going to be looking to play a bit of Weather Wars here with his Pelipper and Ludicolo. And of course, anything on there that gets Rain Dance as well. I want to believe Hitmontop gets Rain Dance too, just to be able to reset that weather, and, you know, so you're not having to sort of pivot around with the Pelipper to get weather set up, you know, because Zacian is not going to appreciate the sun very much. It gets a bit burnt in the sun, and definitely not going to appreciate any fire attacks from either Groudon or Mega Charizard. Mega Aerodactyl could prove to be quite useful here in this matchup if the Mega Charizard does come. Of course, Mega Charizard is 4 times weak to Rock. You know, any kind of Rock Slide or something from a Mega Aerodactyl is going to really hit it hard where it hurts. You know, as well as the likes of that Togekiss as well. Not going to appreciate those Rock moves. But anyway, guys, I'm going to stop my rambling before my throat dries up into oblivion. Let's get in this one. It's Inglorious Surfers taking on Space City PC then. So we're seeing this from Aaron's perspective as Space City does lead out with Groudon. And Dusknoir makes an appearance. So Dusknoir making its first appearance this season for Space City. And Aaron kicking us off with the Mega Aerodactyl and the Zacian Crown. So Zacian Crown, of course, getting that attack boost from the Trevenazard. And Sun going up straight away via that Mega Groudon. Via that Groudon with its Drought ability. As the Aerodactyl switches out, in comes the Pelipper then, so it's going to reset the weather. There's his Solar Beam goes up and Sword Stance set up from the Groudon, and Trick Room goes up from the Dusknoir then. So Meme obviously expecting to switch out there on Aaron's side, and is able to play that a little bit passively to allow Groudon to get a little bit set up here. So that, and you know, Aaron going for that Solar Blade, and because the sun isn't up, it's going to take a time to charge it. The Wide Guard comes out, and there's the Gravity from the Dusknoir, and the Precipice Blaze is blocked by that Wide Guard. There is the Solar Blade in this Groudon. Doesn't quite do enough. The Citrus Berry is going to get some of that HP back. And Gravity then for another 4 turns. So Precipice Blades are going to be able to hit Pelipper if it's not able to get another Wide Guard off. Groudon, there's the Wide Guard again from Pelipper. Will-O-Wisp out from the Dusknoir then, so that's really curbed the attack on the Zacian Crown, and the Behemoth Blade not really doing as much as it maybe would have done hitting that Dusknoir then. So 2 more turns of Trick Room, 2 more turns of Trick Room that Aaron needs to try and stall out then. Those Precipice Blades are going to be very troublesome to deal with. And you know, they're going to get some good damage away at Pelipper, and potentially, I would imagine they're going to be able to take out, excuse me, the Zacian Crown as well, thanks to that attack boost. There's a Will-O-Wisp, and Pelipper does get Wide Guard off again. There's a Precipice Blade, it's going to be blocked by that Wide Guard. Behemoth Blade, if that Dusknoir not quite taking it out. You'd like to think without that burn that Zacian Crown is going to have taken out the Dusknoir there, so good stuff there from me trying to just stall it out. As Charm switches in the place of Groudon, then there's Memento from the Dusknoir, then that's going to drop the Zacian's attack even more, and the Behemoth Blade just not doing anywhere near enough to Charm. And that's going to allow me to switch in his Mega Charizard, so once it goes to Mega, of course, is going to be able to set up the Sun then. And Aaron's going to need to pivot out the Pelipper then if he wants to reset that weather, and of course Cherrim is going to be able to use its Flower Gift to boost the attacks of Mons on Meme's side, so that Memento then, while it has dropped Meme down at Mon, it's really stalled, you know, really walled out that Zacian. There is the Mega from Charizard, Protect comes out from the Zacian, that's good stuff there. Overheat into that Zacian Crown, that would have certainly done a lot on Pollenpuff as well from that Charm, as Rain Dance comes out from the Pelipper, and that is going to reset the weather, and Flower Gift now ends, as well as Trick Room. So great stuff there from Aaron, great move choice, you know, not only have the rain with drizzle on the weapon, but you know, Rain Dance as well, just in case. Saw that opportunity to get it up. Doubling into that Zacian, just allowing that Pelipper to do that. Protect comes out from the Mega Charizard, and the Solar Blade charges up. A Sunny Day comes out now from the Charm. So both support mons on both sides running weather as well. So really just huge weather wars going on right now. Just weather going back and forth. You know, it's almost like summer in the UK here in the middle of this match right now. Decide is it worth keeping the Zacian out with its strong and physical attack. You know, it's at -1 attack and burn, so it's not in a very good position, but maybe it's, you know, is in a position to do enough damage to something like this Mega Charizard. But turn number 18, we're only down, you know, a Mon on the inside. There's the Solar Blitz, and not really doing anywhere near it, because there's the Air Slash. Citrus Berry procs on that Pelipper, and there's the Pollenpuff, so that's good information there for me. The flinch does come out from that Air Slash as well, so Pelipper not able to get a move off, which we presume would be the Rain Dance, and then doing a little bit of chip damage for there as well. So really big mind games coming out here right now with those flinches and the weather just interchanging. And this is as epic as we expected. Now the Aerodactyl switches in. Does miss on the Pelipper, but gets some really great damage away on the Aerodactyl, and the Charm able to take out the Pelipper, so that's not a good position for Aaron to be in now. Unable to reset that weather as we, you know, as it stands now. Ludicolo switches in. Ludicolo! I have to do it every time. Ludicolo switches in, and we now evened up 3v3, and you know, Aaron does have that Zacian station in the back. If he can bring it out, you know, it's at least going to not have those stat drops that it previously did have. Going to have to try and take out that Charm, and especially that Mega Charizard, doing some big damage there. The Aerodactyl does go for Mega. Protect comes out from that Aerodactyl, fake out into that Charm, and there is the Rock Tomb on the Mega Charizard, so Protect keeping that Mega Charizard alive, and that's what we said about in, you know, the pre-screen, how good this Mega Aerodactyl is going to be in this Charizard. And the switch comes out, and there's the Rain Dance from the Mega Aerodactyl, and the Muddy Water is going to be able to take out Groudon and Pollenpuff there. It's going to do some super effective damage to the Ludicolo, but the Groudon goes down, and now Mega Charizard switches back in, does reset the weather, and Flower Gift does get reactivated on the Charm, so the weather just changing back and forth, but great stuff there from Aaron. Get the rain up, activate Swift Swim on that Ludicolo, and Muddy Water hitting both, able to take out that Groudon as well. Some great move choices here from Aaron, able to just enable him to just continue to run here. And there's the Rock Tomb into Mega Charizard as it goes down, as that was all up to Charm. There's a Dazzling Gleam. Ice Beam into the Charm is going to take it out, and Aaron takes this first game. Absolutely epic stuff. 12 turns of just weather swapping from sun to rain, both players playing that really, really smart and conservatively. What an epic to see as Meme starts off game 2 with Dusknoir again, but this time switches out the Rotom Wash. And Aaron kicking things off with Zacian Crown and his Mega Aerodactyl then. From that Mega Aerodactyl, it's Behemoth Blade into the ball. Watch, not really doing that much of the light screen. Reflects my apologies, goes up, and Trick Room gets set up for Dusknoir as well. So being able to get speed control up again could prove to be very, very useful. So how good speed control was for him not doing well. Palippa switches in, just get that rain up, but that is going to give a boost to Rotten Wash as Will-O-Wisp comes out from that Dusknoir. There's the Thunderbolt into the Palippa, and Palippa goes down, and that's already advantage to me and turning the two there, so a lot more of an offensive start there from me. Rotten Wash just, you know, seeing that, you know, me seeing that Palippa switching in and just going straight for the, you know, on the offensive, and Palippa just not going to be able to live that. And now the Ludicolo switches in. If there is sunny day on either of these ones, or being potentially able to switch them in, he's going to slow that Ludicolo right down, and obviously, of course, nullify its water attacks. Mostly that does Muddy Waters, but potentially if those Muddy Waters hits, those accuracy drops could be important enough on their own. Will-O-Wisp comes out from the Dusknoir, gets the ban, and as the light screen goes up, they're just not doing very much at all for that reflected edge. You can get drained from the Ludicolo, that gets some good damage away to the Rotten Wash, and that's some good information as well for me. We'll find another move on that Ludicolo. Another couple of times at rain, 2 more times in Trick Room, and another couple of times to go on reflecting light screen as well. So that Rotten Wash really just playing quite defensively outside of that Thunderbolt. Game 10 and 12, and I'm expecting very much the same as our first versus third. Teams take on each other. Gravity comes out again. There's the Thunderbolt into Ludicolo, not quite doing as much as the Behemoth Blade hitting that Dusknoir. There's the Giga Drain to take out that Rotten Wash, gets Ludicolo back up to nearly full HP, and there we go. That's aren't able to even things up, but now Groudon switches in to reset the weather with one more time Trick Room to go. Ludicolo is probably going to benefit from Trick Room being up here, to be honest. I'm not too sure what speed he is up against that Groudon, but of course Zacian is going to be moving fast, and with no Palippa, there's going to be no wide guard to block those Precipice Blades either, so Vector come out from Zacian Crown. There is the Giga Drain into that Groudon. Good stuff. There's the Precipice Blades. What it's going to do to Ludicolo, that's some good damage away, and Trick Room gets reset then. So seeing that the Ludicolo was going to be faster into Trick Room under that Groudon, resets the Trick Room again, so smash it there for me, just reversing that speed control. Aaron needs to find a way to reset that weather then at this point. We know that of course the Palippa's running Rain Dance and Drizzle, and then of course the Mega Aerodactyl has Rain Dance as well, but does he have a safe switching to be able to bring it in? There's the Solar Blade into Groudon, doesn't quite go down. Citrus Berry is gonna proc, and there's a Precipice Blade that's gonna take out Groudon. Doesn't quite take out the Ludicolo, and the Muddy Water, and not gonna quite take out the Groudon as Trick Room goes up from the Dusknoir, and is now a 2v3 as Mega Aerodactyl switches in there. Oh gosh, this Mega Aerodactyl again, like Zacian, is so fast that it's just not gonna appreciate that Trick Room. It's got a good potential to go for Rain Dance, potentially something like a Protect here on the Ludicolo and Rain Dance. Not too sure what Groudon or Dusknoir going to have for this Mega Aerodactyl, but Will-O-Wisp could come out, and there it is. The Will-O-Wisp does come out from the Dusknoir. Protect comes out from that Groudon, gets blocked by that Giga Drain, and there is the Rock Tomb. Dusknoir does drop its speed, so Dusknoir's not going to mind that too much. It is 2v3 and Ludicolo on very low HP, but it is a little bit closer than it seems. Put that down on the Mega Aerodactyl is not good, halving its physical attack. Mega Charizard's going to switch in. There's the Memento from the Dusknoir, so that's going to take it out and drop the attack even further on that Mega Aerodactyl. Gigabrain, of course, not doing very much at all to the Mega Charizard. Rock 2 just about not quite taking out that Mega Charizard, but doing some big damage away despite the attack drops thanks to that Memento. Now is 2v2. Not too sure whether that was the right move for me, but just had to try and nullify that Mega Aerodactyl, knowing that the Charizard was switching in there, so I see why he went for it. This could be all important. There's the Mega comes out with the Muddy Water, takes out the ground on the Mega Charizard, only attacking though, gets the accuracy drop. Heat Wave is going to take out the Ludicolo, and now it is all up to the Mega Aerodactyl, and it gets the Rock Tomb off and takes it out, and Aaron is going to take this one 2-0. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. I know Meme was a bit disappointed by the decision to Trick Room at the end of the second game, but damn, boys, what a game. GG's to both coaches. They can both be really proud of that one. That went absolutely all the way, especially that second game. It was impossible to call which way that was going to go, and you know, in the end, Mega Aerodactyl able to get the job done despite the Memento dropping its stats. But damn, Aaron looking very difficult to stop as he moves to 5-0. Once again, like last season, he is 5-0, which is absolutely unbelievable. This guy just absolutely loves a regular season run. And, you know, he is our Season 2 champion after all, so we can't forget that. But me making a very good account of himself, and as I said, he has made a very good start to life in the British Pokemon League. And, you know, shouldn't be too disheartened by that loss. We will see Meme back next week, of course. And damn, yeah. Everything you would have wanted from a first versus third match, we just got there, so that was really exciting to watch. On to our fourth game of the week then. It is the Shadow Kings taking on Long Island Goomies. Now, as we said earlier on, like a lot of the matches here, these two have not faced each other since Season 1, thanks to the divisional regional split of last season. But when they did face each other, they did tie up in the regular season. Dogsy took the first one, Silly taking the second one, and then they did meet in playoffs just before losers finals, and Dogsy able to take that one 2-1, so takes the head-to-head record in this one against Silly's Long Island Goomies. And of course, Dogsy Shadow Kings making a very good start to life in Season 3. You know, hasn't had the best of time in the last two seasons, but Dogsy really looking like an animal this season. You know, that Mega Kangaskhan has been phenomenal for him. As you know, it's Mega Kangaskhan. This thing is one of the best, if not the best megas. You know, it's such a solid mega with its parental bond ability. Can just make it really troublesome. And of course, Necrozma as well. Necrozma, you know, next to that, Illumise has really been controlling things very well with that Meteor Beam. You know, Illumise getting the Tailwind up. Necrozma going for those Meteor Beams, buffing a special attack. You know, if Meteor Beam doesn't get the job done, then that Photon Geyser is finishing things off. As we saw last week, that Ditto finally making use in this team, and I very much think that Ditto could be quite poignant in this matchup as well, you know, especially without Xerneas going for those Geomancies. You know, Dogsy's going to look to hope to copy that with his Dittos, and if it's able to take out whatever support one's next to Xerneas, then could prove to be very difficult to stop for Silly. Don't forget about Greninja as well with this protein ability. You know, just like Cinderace's Libero is going to swap its typing around whenever type of move it uses. Could be really important in this matchup as well. You know, perhaps Dogsy looks to try and get some kind of rain up with Illumise as well for Beartic or Dreadnought to benefit from. You know, there's with you know, the likes of Talonflame and Arcanine kicking around on Silly's team. Could be very useful, but gonna need to watch out for that Blastoise with that fake out and follow me pressure, and Blastoise is nothing to shake your head at. This thing is bulky as all hell and does not go down easily. Over on Silly's side as well as its Xerneas, which we just spoke about, that Mega Salamence as well there with its Aerolite ability. We've not seen too much of that Mega Salamence. I know Silly's not been too happy with it, but could be useful in this matchup. You know, with his heavy physical attack, and that, you know, those double edges able to do good damage away with that Aerolite. But you know, as well as that, of course, we've got Kamala with you know, this thing with Sleep Talk. You can you know, give it a Choice Band or a Life Orb, use Sleep Talk, put Last Resort on there, and this thing is really hitting very hard. You know, as Crizzle found out a couple of weeks ago, all the way back in week 1 with that Kyogre. So definitely something not to be not to sort of ignore. Keep an eye on that Arcanine as well with its Intim ability, of course. Also has Justified as well, if that was something Vasily wanted to go for, if there's any beat up there. And Empoleon and Breloom as well. Not seeing a lot of Empoleon, but that Breloom has made the odd few appearances. Of course, has Technician, has Effect Spore. Is a very good support one. Obviously has access to Spore as well, which, you know, if you run that thing with a Sash, you're at least guaranteed to get one Spore off, unless of course they double in. And of course Talonflame as well, those Gale Wings, giving it priority to its flying moves, and you know, priority Tailwind, always useful to have, especially given that Illumise is also going to get Prankster Tailwind as well. So anyways, I'm going to stop my rambling, I'm going to stop my waffling, let's get into this one. It is Dogsy Shadow Kings taking on the Long Island Goomies. Dogsy then has Illumise, Greninja, Gastrodon, Mega Kangaskhan, the Necrozma and Ditto, and over on Silly's side he has got the Blastoise, the Xerneas, Talonflame, Kamala, Breloom, and the Oricorio then, and Silly leading things off then with Kamala and the Talonflame then, so Talonflame going to be able to go for something like, you know, Prankster Tailwind, or potentially, oh, sorry, I had a challenge right there. The Dual Wing Beat goes into the Illumise, but it doesn't quite do enough. It does break its Satchel at least. Tailwind comes out from that Illumise, and there's the Rock Tomb from the Kangaskhan. That's going to take Talonflame out, but the Sleep Talk comes out. There's the last resort, and Kamala takes another kill for its record and takes out that Mega Kangaskhan then. Kamala does not fear you, whether you're a Legendary or Mega, it will take you out regardless, as now Blastoise switches in for Silly. Going to be able to give it that fake out pressure, or follow me, that it wants, you know, and now Necrozma comes in for that fallen for Mega Kangaskhan. Probably going to see that Meteor Beam just so that it gets a special attack buff, and Power Hair, because obviously going to enable that Meteor Beam to go off in one turn. But gotta be really careful that Kamala, you know, that Blastoise can just sit there and fake out and follow me and allow Kamala to do the work, and we've seen how hard it hits. There's the Meteor Beam just come out. Is it going to be enough to take out the Kamala? No, Kamala lives this. There's the Sleep Talk and the last resort, and that is going to take out the Illumise, because it does not have control of which one that hits. It just hits either one, so was maybe hoping for the crossover counter, but now Ditto switches in, and now Ditto has the power of this Kamala as well. Are we about to see two destructive powers on the field at the same time? Two Sleeping Beauties in Kamala, and now Ditto with its copied Kamala form. So what move has Necrozma got then? It's got to have something to be able to take out this Blastoise then, otherwise that Kamala and Silly side are going to be able to do the thing. There's the following comes out, Sleep Talk comes, there's the last resort. Blastoise does live that, and the Fortin Geyser, is it going to do enough? It does take out the Blastoise, but now Silly's Kamala going to be able to get an attack off, and it hits into the Ditto, and Ditto goes down, and now it's all up to Necrozma. Necrozma versus Kamala and Xerneas, and that is not what you want. That Xerneas potentially then can get just a very free Geomancy up here. There's a Heat Wave, gets a critical on the Xerneas, does take out the Kamala, so Kamala finally goes down, but Xerneas is going to get the Geomancy, and that is going to be game one. Then you'd think, I don't see Necrozma living a dazzling gleam here from Xerneas, and of course it doesn't. It gets the Oko, and Silly takes this game number one then. It's absolutely insane stuff from the Kamala, just getting kills left, right and centre. You know, you love to see it from Silly. This kid just absolutely loves a meme. And Kamala proving just how much of a threat it can be, as Dogsy chooses to lead the same. He's got the Illumise and the Mega Kangaskhan, and Silly leading with Talonflame and Kamala once again. And so, like always, you know, a lot of people do. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stick with the same. Do not blame Silly for that one. Is Dogsy maybe going to elect to, rather than a fake out, try and on you know, the Rock Tomb and the Talonflame, try and take out the Kamala this time? There's the Tailwind, Drain Punch into that Kamala, does take it out, gets the crit as well. So Kamala at least dealt with for this time around, and Tailwind is up. And now it's Talonflame and Blastoise and Silly side, so it is advantage to Dogsy. That Illumise still kicking around as well, so going to be able to get some form of pranks to move off if it's able to live an attack from that Talonflame. Talonflame's still at a full HP, so going to be able to benefit from that game. As Illumise to switch out, and there's the Necrozma. Fake out comes into that Mega Kangaskhan, so good choice there from Silly. And Dual Wing Beat going to go in that Necrozma, not going to do too much damage, but Good choice there from Silly. You know, knew the switch was coming. Read Dogsy like a book. And gets the fake out on the Mega Kangaskhan just to keep his Talonflame alive. So Talonflame going to still have priority. And now in comes the Ditto. Gets the Blast copies of the Blastoise. Protect comes out from Silly's Blastoise. And there's the Thunder Punch into the Talonflame. So it's not quite doing enough initially. But the second hit from the Parental Bond is going to take it out. And it is now 2v4. But now Xerneas switches in from Silly. Is this game about to completely flip on its head? You know, Blastoise on Silly's side going to be able to go Follow Me, and Follow Me on Dogsy's side is not going to matter once Geomancy goes up, because it's just going to be able to Dazzle and Gleam both Mons on the field. So Dogsy is going to have to take out the Blastoise. Just get the fake out on the Blastoise then, so but goes for the Thunder Punch on the Blastoise rather than hitting it. The Zen does get the Para on the Blastoise at very least. Geomancy hits off for that Xerneas then. So Silly going to be able to potentially get another Follow Me then if the Para doesn't proc on it at least. And I said no real point in the Follow Me coming out from Dogsy's from the Ditto. The Xerneas is not going to care. It's not going to follow you anywhere. It's not going to follow you down any dark and dirty passes. And then Necrozma switches in. There's the Follow Me from Silly's Blastoise. Thunder Punch is going to take out that Blastoise, but the Dazzling Gleam taking out the Necrozma, but the Mega Kangaskhan only just living, and Dogsy maybe trying to save that Ditto then in the back so they can copy that Zen. But Zen now, Tailwind is gone. Illumise is going to have to go for that Tailwind, but is Tailwind even going to be enough to outspeed that Zen with 2 times speed, I wonder? Tailwind goes off for Illumise. There's the Dazzling Gleam, and it's not. And Zen just absolutely on a tear once again for Silly. Takes out both Mega Kangaskhan and Illumise, and now is all up to Ditto. Tailwind is at least up for Dogsy for 3 more turns, so his Ditto, his Xerneas now, is going to be faster than Silly's Xerneas. So can go for some good damage here. There is the Dazzling Gleam, takes Silly's Xerneas down to 43, and Silly's Xerneas takes the Ditto down to 31, then 2 more turns of Tailwind. Is there a Protect on Silly's side? Can he maybe stall out this Tailwind? Protect does come out from the Zen, then Dazzling Gleam blocked by that 1 more turn of Tailwind. I don't think it's going to be enough. You can maybe got to go for the Protect. Dazzling Gleam comes out from the Ditto, and Dogsy's going to tie us up at 1 apiece. So using Ditto to complete perfection there. Really smart stuff there from Dogsy, just waiting for the opportune moment to bring in the Ditto with the Tailwind, proving to be the right move there. And now we move into a clutch game 3 then. So who's going to take this one? There's Breloom and Talonflame this time from Silly, so completely switching things up. And Dogsy sticking with what he knows, the Illumise and the Mega Kangaskhan then. Mega Kangaskhan, so we've seen the Thunder Punch, we've seen the Fake Out, we've seen the Rock Tomb. Fake Out does go in that Talonflame, so that's going to break the Gale Wings and takes Talonflame just above half HP. So Fake Out doing some big damage there. Is the Tailwind as well, and Spore comes out from the Breloom, and now that Mega Kangaskhan is asleep. So how big could that be then? How many times is this Mega Kangaskhan going to stay asleep? Could allow Silly to, you know, switch into the Mons he wants, which is going to be that Zen, it's going to be that Blastoise, and just start wrecking house. Light Screen is going to go from that Illumise. There's the Tailwind from Talonflame and Bullet Seed. Then the Technician Bullet Seed, is it going to do enough? Not quite. Put some good damage away there. Maybe perhaps something like a Mach Punch would have been better in that Mega Kangaskhan. There's the Mach Punch, then it does take out the Mega Kangaskhan. Thunder Wave comes out into that Breloom from the Illumise, and Dual Wing Beat there. It's going to do some good damage away to Illumise, but obviously in the last 2 games, Dual Wing Beat not quite enough to take it out. But advantage to Silly. And now Necrozma switches in. We would like to think there's a Meteor Beam coming that Talonflame's way from Necrozma. Could also go for a Photon Geyser into that Breloom as well. Thunder Wave comes out into the Talonflame as well. There's the Meteor Beam off from that Necrozma. That's going to take out the Talonflame, so at least it levels things up. But Spore comes out from the Breloom. Para doesn't proc. And now Necrozma asleep, and Xerneas then. Xerneas is going to be completely free to get this Geomancy up, but we have seen those Thunder Waves from that Illumise, so if you can maybe get some clutch Paras on that Xerneas, try and slow it down, try and stop it from getting Geomancy up, it might allow the Necrozma to wake up and be able to take it out. all going to depend on if those powers happen and if Necrozma wakes up. You know, who knows how many times it could stay asleep. It might get the clutch turn 1 wake up, or it could stay asleep for a couple of times. You know, it could be a real slum party. There's a Map Punch not going to take out the Illumies there. Geomancy does go off though, so Power not proccing. And now Xerneas fully ready to go burr. The Tailwind does end on Shadow King's side as well. And one Dazzling Gleam here should be enough to take out both Illumies and Necrozma. And then Dogsy's going to have the very difficult task of a 1v3 facing down the Xerneas. I think that Necrozma is going to set his Ditto now, switches in for that Breloom. Was that the right decision? There's Blastoise, switches in for Silly. Dazzling Gleam. It's going to take out the Breloom. Necrozma does hang on though. That Light Screen proving to be very, very clutch. And Dogsy losing his Ditto. How important could that be then to this matchup? It really needed that Ditto for this late game, I think, to be able to take out the Blastoise and do some good damage with Xerneas. Fake Out's going to take out the Illumies. And the Dazzling Gleam's going to get the job done. And Silly then gets his 2nd win in a row and gets back to winning ways against Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Great stuff from those guys. You know, that game too was really, really fun to watch. You know, it was really great to see when that Ditto was going to come in and when Dogsy was going to sort of be able to use it as an advantage. And, you know, really smart enough getting that Tailwind. You know, he sacked it. He knew the Xerneas was going to be fast. He sacked it off, but just to get that Tailwind off, you know, and you gave him at least a fighting chance to get himself back in that game. So really good stuff there from Dogsy. I'm sure he'll bounce back next week. But Silly then rolls on and is now 3-2. Matches up to Dogsy's record, who of course was 3-1. So Silly really on a roll this season. Xerneas proving to be very, very difficult to stop. It has been a headache in pretty much everyone he's played. You know, it's been a thorn in their side, apart from myself and Mr. Crizzle, of course. But you know, we won't speak about that. We'll let Silly have his moment. Anyway, guys. Our 5th game of the week then. It is the Knights of Cydonia versus South Croydon Soars. So, like a lot of teams, these two yet to face each other yet, thanks to last season having the regional divisions. But both making very, very alternate stats. Knights of Cydonia with the 1-3 and the South Croydon Soars with a 3-1 record. So both fighting at opposite ends of the table. But as we proved last week, Jabba is not a player to sort of, you know, just turn your nose up at. He's a good player on his day, taking Aaron all the way to game 3 with those Parasong strats. So something that Crizzle is going to have to be wary of then. You know, is definitely going to have something in play other than that Lugia here to be able to take care of the likes of the Kyogre. And, you know, the Whims as well could be super important in this matchup. But is this maybe a match where Crizzle chooses to sort of experiment and switch things up then? Because I think overall he has a very, very good matchup, you know, across the board. That, you know, that Kyogre takes care of a lot of mons on Crizzle's side. As well as the Indeedee Male and something like the Hydreigon as well. You know, the Weezing as well going to turn off potentially that Lugia's ability. That could be really big in this matchup, so something Crizzle could go for, you know, at the risk of turning off his own ability. But yeah, this is going to be a hard one for Jabba to be able to pick up the win from, but it's not impossible. You know, something like that Salamence we know has something like a Thunderfang. That's going to be able to take out the Kyogre with its, you know, not as strong physical defense. Or could, you know, if he's able to slow Crizzle down, the Parasong from that Alolan Marowak really could work. You know, has got the Klefki there with stuff like Metal Sound and things that could lower the stats, lower the special attack, lower the special defenses on Crizzle's side. You know, just slow the pace down to the pace he wants. And just be able to chip away at those mons and force Crizzle into the switch outs with that Parasong. So could be something we see from Jabba in this one. Of course, has that Fletchinder as well to be able to get Tailwind if he needs that speed control. Or Bronzor, where with its Trick Room, we saw how much of a headache Bronzor was for Aaron last week. So keep an eye on those. Over on Crizzle's side then, we saw just how strong that Kyogre can be, as well as that Indeedee Male last week against the Ninjas. And if Jabba's unable to reset the weather, that Kyogre is primed and positioned in a very good spot. And you know, Whimsicott as well. I think Whimsicott always comes to every match for Crizzle. It's always going to be a thorn in people's side. You know, he's been playing with it really, really well so far this season. You know, it's actually got a very, very respectable amount of kills on its own, and you wouldn't expect really Whimsicott to be getting kills, but damn right it is. As you said, something like the Hydreigon could be really good here. you know, against something like the Alolan Marowak, the Serperior, and the Escavalier and Lucario here as well. So could be something that Krizzle chooses to bring. Or, you know, if he, you know, reads the Trick Room and brings the Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr could be really strong in this matchup with its Guts ability, you know, with the Flame Orb. And of course has Fake Out Pressure with that Raichu, as well as Follow Me on that Raichu as well. So could be something we see here as well. As we said earlier, that Weezing as well could be useful to turn off the multi-scale ability of that Lugia. So Krizzle certainly has options in this game. But I'm going to stop my babbling. Without further ado, let's get into this one. It's the nicest Idonia taking on South Korean Swords. This one was a replay, so I will try and keep up as best I can. As Krizzle leads the line with the Conkeldurr and the Raichu with that Balloon, and Jabba with Salamence and Lugia, but chooses to switch out the Alolan into that Alolan Marowak. Fake Out goes into the Lugia, it's going to stop that, and Bulk Up comes out from the Conkeldurr then, and burn from that Flame Orb. So the Guts is going to proc. Trick comes out from that Lugia, that's going to give a Choice Scarf to the Conkeldurr, and Speed Up goes off. Stone Edge misses the Lugia though, but that Stone Edge is going to do some big damage, and Lugia now has that Burn Orb, and that's going to be burning away, but the Stone Edge is going to take it out anyway. It doesn't matter. Now Parasol comes out from that Marowak, that Speed Swap proving to be very, very clutch on the side of that Raichu. Conkeldurr is now very, very quick and with very, very high attacks. That's Protect comes out from that Marowak. There's the Follow Me. Protect stops that Stone Edge from going off, and Quash fails on the Kingler. So not too sure what Jabba was going for there, but you know, had to try it. Another 2 turns of Parasol to go. Follow Me comes out from that Raichu. The Stone Edge does work this time, and Marowak goes down, so it's now 4v2. There's the Crab Hammer into Raichu. That does pop the balloon at the very least, but not really doing enough. And Conkeldurr and Raichu are going to perish next time. Back to that Parasol. There's now Salamence, who's in Conkeldurr, going to take the heal. Switch out as Whimsicott now comes in. Crab Hammer does miss the Raichu. And there's the Volt Switch into Kingler, not quite taking out, but getting some very, very good damage. As now Kyogre switches in, sets up the rain for itself as Wide Guard comes out from the Kingler. Stacks a good read from Jabba. Tailwind sits off that Whimsicott, and Icy Wind going to be blocked by that Kingler. And there's the Thunderfang in that Kyogre. Gets the critical hit as well, and that's some very good damage away to the Kyogre. Moonblast into that Salamence, drops the special attack, and that's some good damage away. Kingler going to get taken out by the Thunder, so it's all up to Salamence, and Thunderfang is going to take out that Kyogre then, but is it too little too late? That Salamence now has it all to do. Raichu switches in, Protect comes out from that Salamence to at least block that Fake Out. Moonblast also stopped by that Protect as well. Protect going off again, so getting the double Protect, but I don't really see what this is getting for Jabba, to be honest. The Tailwind is he's at least stalled it out, but the Volt Switch going to take Salamence down to 5% HP. In comes the Conkeldurr, but it's not going to matter because Whimsicott's going to clean it up, take out the Salamence, and Jabba goes down in his first game, and Krizzle takes a 1-0 lead into game 2. And sticks with what he knows. The Raichu and Conkeldurr come out again, and Klefki and Salamence to stand for Jabba. So switching up as the Fake Out goes into that Salamence with the Raichu. Thunder Wave is going to get stopped by that Lightning Rod, so a bit of a mistake there from Jabba, and that's going to allow Conkeldurr to go for its Bulk Up once again. And we saw just how strong this thing can be with that Stone Edge, and Stone Edge is going to really hit her hard in that Salamence, and it does, and Salamence goes straight out to that. Reflect does go from Klefki, but it's not going to be enough to stop that Salamence going down. There's the Confide that does drop this Raichu special attack, and the Aeroblast into the Conkeldurr, not quite doing enough, but that burn damage is going to be threatening that Conkeldurr now as Whimsicott comes in for that Volt Switch. Conkeldurr only just hanging on as Lugia switches out. In comes the Mega Lucario. There's the Tailwind Thunder Wave, at least going to power that Whimsicott. And there's the Stone Edge into Lucario, which it is going to resist thanks to its Steel Fighting type. Conkeldurr does go down that burn damage. There's now Raichu switches in then. Mega Lucario comes out. There's the Fake Out into that Mega Lucario then, and the Charm from the Whimsicott. That's going to really drop the Lucario's attack and really hurt as the Light Screen goes up for the Klefki. Confide going to drop that Raichu special attack just that little bit more. Bullet Punch not really doing enough. That Whimsy thanks to that Charm. As Volt Switch brings in the Kyogre now, with sets up the rain for itself as well. Tailwind is up for another 10. One Water Spout here is going to really do big damage as the Lucario goes for the Protect. There's the Confide to drop the Kyogre special attack a bit, but that's not going to matter because Klefki is going to go down to that Water Spout. And now it is all up to Lugia and Lucario, and Raichu Whimsicott's facing off as the Kyogre switches out. Fake Out is going to flinch that Lugia. Horror Sphere not doing enough to Whimsy. Follow Me comes out from that Raichu. There's the Bullet Punch. Is resisted by that Raichu. There's the Tailwind from the Whimsicott, and Trick comes out from the Lugia to give Raichu that Scarf. So Raichu going to have to stick with that Follow Me now. Bullet Punch not going to do very much. Power does proc the Whimsicott, and there's the Tailwind from Lugia then. So not something we really see on Lugia. That's a really great move choice there from Jabba. And Aeroblast and Aura Sphere are going to be able to take out that Whimsicott, that Raichu, sorry. as now Kyogre switches back in. One more time, the Tailwind Bullet Punch not really going to do enough to Kyogre, nor is the Aeroblast thanks to those special defenses. There's the Orange Impulse, going to take out the Mega Lucario, and now Lugia with the Auto 2's Power goes off again on that Whimsicott. Aeroblast is going to at least stop the Power health for that Whimsicott, but the Orange Impulse going to be enough for Krizzle to take this one 2-0, and he rolls on for a second win in a row for Krizzle. Actually, it might be 3 wins in a row for Krizzle, so Krizzle really, really rolling on the season as we move ever closer to that mid-season point. So GG's to both players. Jabba really switching it up with his Mons move pools and item choices, and I've got to respect it, man. Like, it's going to work for him at some point. You know, the likes of that. You know, we've seen Raw on what was it last week? I don't remember what Raw was on last week, but we saw supporting Mega Lucario last week. We've seen Parasong on the Alolan Marowak. You know, and Tailwind and Trick on the Lugia there. It's just not sets you see, and this is the beauty of Draft League, is you see sets on Mons you would normally see. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Unfortunately, it's not really working for Jabba, but as I said, it will. He will get there with it, and it's, you know, it will come. That Lugia is very bulky and strong, so as long as he's got the bulk there, something like the Parasong strat will catch someone off guard. So good stuff there from Jabba. GG's to both guys there. On to our final game of the week. I'm just going to get a quick drink. I'll be back in just a second. Sorry about that, guys. I completely ran out of water there, and my voice just started to completely go. I don't know if you could tell by the end of that one. Anyway, guys, we have got a debut here there. It is Neil's first game of the British Pokemon League, the Scuba Squirtles. Obviously taking off that slot that has been left by the departing Latvian and his Miami Heat team. So he does inherit that Miami Heat team. So it's all the same Mons, it's all the same setup that Latvian would have had. But of course, this is going to be a first head-to-head between these two. Silver, very brand new to this league this season, and of course, this is Neil's first season as well. The Tyrants have made a very, very good start life in the British Pokemon League. You know, after not a great start in week 1, he is now on a 3-game winning streak. Silver really, really putting in the work. With his sort of unconventional sort of doubles format. Well, it's very much a singles format. That he's running in doubles, and it is working for him. You know, it's working so well for him. It's been really, really great to see, you know, just how smart he plays this. Just seems to have absolutely everyone's number when it comes to the store game. So really massive credit to Silver, and it's definitely going to be a job and a half for Niels to stop that. But, you know, with Kali Shadow as well on that Tyrants team, you've got a really, really strong sweeping Pokemon as well there. So, you know, once you've annoyed someone into complete submission, the Kali Shadow can come in clean up the sloppy seconds. But we've seen just how strong that Crobat and Alolan Executor can be. You know, Crobat with his Tailwind and Toxic as well as like the likes of the Registeel as well. You know, not only has Iron Defense and Amnesia, but also has access to things like Toxic and just sort of generally be there to be an annoyance. And Octillery as well. I mean, let's not understate how strong this Octillery has been for the Tyrants. With its immunity ability and leftovers, he can just sit there and protect, get some HP back, and let Moody do its thing. If he gets the right Moody boost as well, this Octillery becomes very scary, very, very fast. We've not really seen a lot of the Toxapex and Altaria, but you know, Toxapex really fits into this sort of this ethos that Silver's built with that team. Is very stall heavy, and I think it will come eventually. When it will or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm fully expecting Toxapex to make an appearance at some point, as well as Cinderace as well. You know, if it benefits him, Cinderace will come for sure. You know, as well as that Dark Airstrew could make its appearance today. You know, it's going to work really well against the likes of that Indeedee and the Alakazam, so it could be something that he goes for, you know, to run alongside the Kali Shadow or something. So something to keep an eye out. Over on the Squirtle side though, who knows how Niels is going to set up here, but as you've seen in the past with Latvian, he's typically built around the Entei and the Volbeat, with the likes of Indeedee female on the back if he wants to get terrain up to block those priority attacks, and that Mega Blastoise as well. The poignant Blastoise, you know, Latvian's Blastoise. This time the Mega Blastoise, obviously the same as Silly's Blastoise, is going to have Fake Out and Follow Me, and it's going to be even more bulkier and hit even harder. So something to keep an eye out on that Squirtle side as well. You know, something to keep an eye out as well is Skill Swap on the Alakazam next to that the Slacking with Truant. You know, while you are going to give Truant to the Alakazam, you're going to give Slacking access to synchronize, and it's going to obviously get rid of Truant, and the Slacking can hit like an absolute truck. So Niels is going to see that as an option. I'm sure it's something he's going to look to go for. Don't sleep on Ambipom and Sork either. We know we haven't seen them come just yet, but you know, it could be something he tries to play around with before we get into free agents and trades. And of course, Emolga and Manectric as well. Emolga can sit there with Discharge and really power up that Manectric, and if he has speed control, Manectric can really get the damage done. So anyways, on to our final game of week number 5. It is the Tyranitar Tyrants versus the Scuba Squirtles then. I'm going to get kicked straight off in this one. It is a replay, so again, I will try and keep up as best I can. As Silver kicks things off with the Crobat and the Kali Shadow, and the Alakazam and the Slacking kick things off for the Squirtles. Protect comes out from the Kali Shadow, so Sucker Punch gets stopped, and Toxic comes out from that Crobat, and there it is. As Skill Swap comes out from the Alakazam as well to get that Truant off the Slacking. And Alakazam is going to get the Truant. Tailwind comes out from the Crobat. Night Slash into that Alolan Executor. Does get the critical hit, but does eat that up. Tom comes out that Alakazam, so it's going to block the Skill Swaps. That's great. Body Slam though gets a crit as well, and Slacking takes its first kill of the season. And Octillery switches in Blastoise. Mega Blastoise switches in for Squirtles. Octillery goes for the Protect, and the Crobat going to get another poison off. Toxic poison onto that Blastoise, going to be slowly chipping away at that Slacking, and the Blastoise just putting them both on the timer. As the Octillery gets a 2-time defense buff and goes for the substitute, and there's a Night Slash into the Crobat to get the crit. That's some good damage away. The Dragon Pulse is going to break the substitute at least on that Octillery, but the Slacking is going to go down. Then unfortunately the poison, as our Alakazam switches in, Protect comes out on that Octillery. The Tailwind goes up again. There's the Dazzling Glaive. The Crobat eats that up. They're obviously going to resist the Dragon Pulse blocked by that Protect. Attack boost on that Octillery now 3 times defense. There's a Cross Poison, gets a crit on the Blastoise. The Skill Swap comes out from the Alakazam. Substitute goes up for the Octillery, and there's a Dragon Pulse that is going to break the substitute again, but the Octillery is going to get some damage back from that leftovers, and Blastoise slowly but surely going down that poison damage. Protect comes out from that Octillery, and there is the Toxic of the Alakazam. Dazzling Gleam just not doing enough to that Crobat. You would think that the Expanding Force would come out from the Alakazam to be able to take out that Crobat and stop it being an annoyance. And Toxic comes out in the Entei. The Expanding Force finally does come, and it does take out the Crobat. And the Eruption comes out from the Entei. So it is a special attack, and there's a Scald to do a little bit more damage with the Entei. So Octillery really proving its metal here now. 4 times defense as Kali Shadow switches in, so it's 2 the 3 Protect comes out with Octillery. There's the Astral Barrage, and that's going to take out both Alakazam and Entei. Then all of a sudden it is a 1v2, and this is what I said, Kali Shadow just comes in the late game, and by that point you're annoyed in submission, and it's going to just do the work as the Tyrants then are going to take the lead in this match. Then great stuff there from Silver, just able to stall it out. Leads the same again with Crobat and the Kali Shadow this time. This time the Squirtles go for the Indeedee Alakazam, so the Psy spans his Psychic Seed revealed on the Indeedee, and Slacking comes in. So that's a great switch there from Squirtles, knowing that he was going for an Astral Barrage, and both Indeedee and Slacking, of course, are immune. This Expanding Force is going to take Crobat down to its Sash. The Alolan Exeggutor switches in, there's a Toxic onto that Slacking. Night Slash is going to do some good damage against the critical hit away. The Expanding Force is going to take out the Crobat, so advantage to the Squirtles. And the Alolan Exeggutor are not looking too healthy then as it goes for the Protect. Substitute does go for the Artillery, Truant talking on the Slacking, so not allowing it to go. As Substitute is taken down by that Expanding Force. So Indeedee really putting in the work here, and especially defense drop as well on the Artillery. Fancy Moody is really not going to help things, but it does get the 2-time speed. There's the Leech Seed, but it misses on that Slacking. How important could that be as the Alolan Exeggutor goes down, and is now a 2v4, so not going the way the Silver would wanted. Does get the 2 times defense, but that special defense drop really not good for him with that Expanding Force running around. Trick comes out from the Calyrex, gives the Specs to the Slacking. Sure, not going to allow the Slacking to go. Expanding Force blocked by that Substitute. Sucker Punch though for the Slacking is going to go, and that's going to take it out. There's a Dazzling Gleam onto the Artillery Scald. Going to be enough to take out the Slacking thanks to that poison damage. Those Moody boosts really helping on Artillery, but I think it's going to be a little too late in the 1v3 because the Blastoise, there's a protect from the Artillery. Skill Swap going to get blocked by that, but you know, once that Moody is gone, it's going to really leave Artillery wide open. Indeed, he switches back in, so it's smart stuff there from Squirtles to get the terrain back up. Going to enable him to go for those Expanding Force boosted Psychic Terrain boosted Expanding Forces, the wrong way around there. It breaks the Substitute, and Expanding Force indeed is going to take it out, and the Squirtles tie us up at 1 apiece then. So a clutch game 3 then, a close game 3 then I'm expecting from this one, as Silver does choose to switch things up. Registeel and the Alolan Exeggutor, and Squirtles sticking with the Indeedee and Alakazam. There's a double Expanding Force then from both, and that's going to take out the Alolan Exeggutor before it has even a chance to do anything. So Iron Defense goes off for that Registeel, but maybe would have looked to go for the Amnesia there. There's the tail goes out from the Crobat. Expanding Force is going to take the Crobat down to the Sash, and one more Expanding Force. Do you think it's going to do it? Body Press not quite doing enough. There's the Expanding Force to take up Crobat, and all of a sudden on 10 number 3 is 2v4. All up to Artillery, and he knows that Skill Swap is on that Alakazam. Expanding Force going to take out that Registeel, and now it's all up to Artillery, and as we said, the Skill Swap is on that Alakazam. You know, one Skill Swap, and that's going to be enough to Scald. It is going to take out Indeedee just to take it down to 3, but there's the Skill Swap. Gives the Alakazam the Moody with 3 of the 2 times defense, does drop its special defense. Now in comes the Blastoise. Fun Expanding Force, you would think it's going to do a lot of damage here, and it does. Artillery almost going down. Dark Pulse is going to grab the Mega Blastoise, and the Tyrants then drop their first game in 3 matches to the new player Niels. So Niels making a perfect start of life in the British Pokemon League. And his first game of the season coming in the halfway point for Latvian. GG's to both guys. That was, again, a really fun match. It was really great to see how Niels adapted to sort of the style of play Silver obviously showed in that first game. So that was really nice to see. You know, and you know, he'd be very happy with that start, I'm very sure. You know, that does take him up to 2-3 record at the very least. You know, it would have been awful for him to lose that first one, put him on the 1-4 record, and really put him at a disadvantage going that halfway point. So really good stuff there from Niels, and you know, already proving that he's someone to be, you know, reckoned with in this league. Anyways, guys, before we get into the league table and next week's schedule, we've got a few things to look over. And before we do that, we're going to have a word with one of our coaches. It is the coach of the Swindon Rookadies. It is Draco. So I will get him on the old blower in just a second. Give him a call. Mr. Draco, hello.
Hello, Mr. Star. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. My throat is absolutely dying, but I'm okay. How's things going? How have you been?
I've been good.
Good.
As good as I can be going 4 losses in a row, but looking to pick things up second half.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's not a be all and end all. There still is the second half. There's 6 matches in the second half of the season, so you know there's plenty of opportunities to bring it back. So before we sort of get into the transfers that you've made and sort of season overall, we'll talk about, obviously last season was your first season in the British Pokemon League. How did you think it went for you overall? How was your first season here?
My first season, I really enjoyed it. I wasn't like obviously with it being my first season, I wasn't expecting to win it because obviously I didn't know everyone. I didn't know anyone. Um, and also the environment of it being a draft league was all new to me. Um, but I feel like making playoffs for me was good to start me off in my first season. But yeah, all in all, I enjoyed it and looking to make playoffs again this season.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I think playoffs always have to be the goal, but the sort of winning run you went on was obviously really, really good to see, and I think that sort of
Yeah.
cemented yourself as a bit of a threat, and people sort of looked at that and were like, oh damn, we might have a player on our hands here. Um, so yeah, obviously you didn't quite go to plan in playoffs, but I think all in all, pretty successful first season. As sort of we mentioned, he's not made the best start of life in season two. What do you think sort of been the main thing that this went wrong this far? Do you think it's sort of a change in format, or just not being sort of getting having the results go the way you want them to?
Um, I think it's down to a lot of things. Obviously, I don't want to blame it all on luck, even though I have been unlucky at moments in
Mhm.
my matches. Um, but I think it's just like obviously with the megas and the legendaries being added, and also national decks with lots of new Pokemon.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's a lot to wrap your head around, and there's a lot more thought when it comes to team building.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, hundred
and
percent.
yeah, it's just hopefully it goes well in the second half, but you know,
Yeah, I think
there's plenty of
it's been a lot. It's a lot to adapt to. And I think
hmm
some people have adapted to it really well. Others have adapted to it as well. Um, but I think yeah, RNG has played a lot of things in a few of your
Yeah,
matches. It just hasn't. And a few of the matchups you've had, against like Silly, I think pretty much every week he's brought remotely the same sort of thing, and then chose to switch it up for your game, and
yeah, that
which
really threw me off.
which is the nature of draft league. That sort of thing can happen, but you know, these things can happen, and
Yeah,
it can only go up from here. To be
yeah.
honest,
As you
so
said, there's plenty of Pokemon left to
there's
play.
plenty of Pokemon left to play. So as you said, we're now at the halfway point, and you have made some changes. So why don't you talk us through some of your changes and why you made them, I suppose. So we'll start off with your Mega. So you have swapped
Okay.
out Mega Diancie, and you've went for
Yes.
Mega Gengar.
Omega Gengar, Mega Gyarados.
Oh, Mega Gyarados. Apologies. Yes, sorry. Yeah, yeah. You switched it. Oh, yeah. I was reading it on the page. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's Mega Gengar. Yeah, you went for the Mega Gyarados. So, what was the thought process behind the Mega Gyarados then? So, what do you think it brings to the team?
Um, so the first thing I was looking for in my team was a strong water type because I didn't have that
Right.
in the first half. Um, I was looking at other megas such as Slowbro and even maybe trying to get Blastoise as well from Niels, but Mega Gyarados stood out to me because it obviously gets the Intimidate before it
Yes.
Mega Evolves,
Yeah.
so that's something that I can always use before I Mega. It's really bulky. The fact that it changes type to Dark and has Dark moves boosted by my Yveltal as well.
Yeah. It
Um,
obviously
is something I really really like.
yeah, it really sort of gels well with that Yveltal. It has that nice, as you said, the boosted Dark type moves are always really nice to have. The stab as well.
Yeah.
Just it really sits well next to the Yveltal, and Yveltal's got such a wide move pool as well that you know those two are gonna put in the work. A physical attacker and a strong special attacker sat next to each other, kind of scary.
It is.
So your S tier next then. Your S tier
Yeah,
Genesect has gone, and you've picked up Mr. Metalman, Melmetal.
I have.
So
Yes.
what sort of drew you to Melmetal then for your team?
Um, Melmetal is just a Pokemon that I've sort of played it in the past for fun, and it's something that I really enjoy playing.
Hmm.
Um, Even though it's slow and it works in Trick Room, which my team didn't really have at first.
Right.
I think that's sort of a bit more, I guess, diversity for my team in terms of speed because before I was just Tailwind basically as my only form of speed control. So now having a strong attacker in Trick Room and something really, really bulky as well,
Yeah.
um, is really good to have.
Yeah. This thing's HP and defense stats and physical attack stats are
Yeah,
just something crazy.
they are.
and of course its ability giving boost to punch type moves as well is very very scary. Even if you didn't have Trick Room, just having it there in case someone went for the Trick Room, give you that option, just to scare people off from trying to go that way is, I think, it's just really useful to have regardless. So yeah, I like that. I'm very sad to part with Mr. Metal Man, but I hope he serves you well.
I'm sure he will.
So next up, you picked up the Stantler, which was initially on Aaron's team, but then was on Crizzle's team.
Yes.
So Stantler we saw against Jabba. This thing has quite a few very fun abilities. Obviously, it gets Intim, a Sap Sipper, and I want to say the final one is Frisk. I could be wrong on that one.
It is.
It is Frisk. Okay, cool. My memory's not too terrible. Yeah, I mean it's your D tier pick, so typically you don't expect a lot from D tiers, but I think it's a pretty solid mon for D tier. Again, what drew you towards a Stantler? Was it just the variation in the abilities?
Partly that. Also, it's a Trick Room setter, which I kind of need another one of.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I just looking through the D tier, it was one of the better ones that I saw, and when Aaron traded it away, I was like, I'll take it.
I'll have it.
Yep.
Yeah, screw you, Ferret. I'm done with you. I want Dear Man.
Ferret has followed me, which is good, but I would prefer Stantler.
Yeah, just for that Trick Room, as I said, the variety of abilities is so useful to have. So one surprising trade that I've seen is you've parted ways with Mr. Jamie Boyd, the Cottony itself, and picked up Torterra.
Yes.
So what was the thinking behind that one?
I think just because I've used Cottony every week up until the halfway point, it was sort of becoming something that not only would be predicted, but almost something that you would expect me to have and almost guarantee it in a way.
Yeah.
Because I was using it so much. So I just wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit and add some more bulk to the team with Torterra.
Yeah, Torterra is very bulky. Yeah, it's a good one. It
is.
It's one of my favorite sort of third Evo starter mons and grass mons as well. Yeah. So it's exciting to see that. And then your final two trades, you swapped out Zygarde 10% for Mimikyu and Monferno for Quagsire. So Mimikyu, I'm very very excited to see. So not only of course Trick Room setter, but it has access to things like Sword Stance as well, and with its disguise ability can make it quite a problem. As a Trick Room setter, because you've got to break that disguise before you can do any damage to it. So again, was that just something you were looking at to be able to set up Trick Room, or was you had it more in mind as like a sweeper, or did you just want those options?
Mimikyu is just really diverse with what it can do. It can either be a Trick Room setter, it can be a physical sweeper, it can play a more supportive role.
Yeah.
I just always have a lot of fun using Mimikyu on my teams, and as soon as I saw it not there, I just thought I've got to take it if I can fit it in, and I can fit it in now at the halfway point.
Yeah, so it was just Zygarde 10%, just not really, because I think, did you bring it maybe once or twice? I think it came versus Aaron.
It came versus Aaron, yes.
Yeah.
I tried to take out the Zacian with it, but it didn't go in.
Didn't quite work.
I couldn't make it work.
No, it was a nice idea, but it's I think it's definitely an upgrade in terms of Zygarde 10% to Mimikyu. Mimikyu is really really good. It's probably the best Trick Room setter, or one of the best. For sure.
It's up there.
So that's really exciting to see. So you've got to yourself a lot of upgrades to the team there, and I said you've changed things up, as I said, with swapping out the Cottony as well, and I think you've still got a very good core around, like Volcarona and the Drifblim next to that core with the Unburden and that. So it's going to be very exciting to see what the team can do going forward. So what are sort of your predictions and hopes for the second half of the season then? Is it obviously the main thing is going to be playoffs, but how do you think you're going to change things up to sort of bounce back from the start you've made?
Ideally, I'd like to go on another 6-game winning streak.
That would be nice, yeah.
It would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't we all?
No, I just want to at least have a good shot at making playoffs. Like obviously I'm 1-4. I think I'm like ninth or 10th in the table. I think I'm 10th.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to get out of the relegation spot, make it to playoffs. And hopefully the team can do it. I'm looking forward to using the likes of Melmetal and Gyarados and Mimikyu.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Huh. Should be a lot of fun. I just wanted to switch things up mainly because I think I was becoming too predictable.
Yeah, with the Cottony and things, and
with the Cottony and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to switch things up, give myself the best chance at playoffs I could.
Yeah, I think you've got a lot of different options there now. That like you can bring a few different things that might throw people off as well. So that's going to give you a real chance of making it now. It is so close down there at the bottom, and we haven't looked at the league table yet. But literally between like third and ninth, there's like a win difference, which it might be the closest it's been in a long time. I think I don't think season 2 wasn't close at all, but like season 1 might have been the last time it was like genuinely this close between making playoffs. So yeah, it could go absolutely either way. So I'm very excited to see what you can do the rest of the season, Draco. That is all I'm going to have time for this evening. But I do appreciate your time as always, Mr. Draco.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yes, and I will catch you again in the future. See you later, man.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
Bye. So that, of course, was Mr. Draco himself, coach of the Swindon Rookadies. He's made a lot of really fun changes to the team, and it sounds very excited about the team going forward as well, which is what you want to see with a coach. But for now, before we get into the league table, we are going to take a look at every team's changes in the mid-season point. We do still have another 2.5 hours left of the window, so there's still chance for changes to happen. But for now, we're going to take a look at the changes as at the time of the stream. So first, we're going to start off with our first place team. It is the Inglorious Surfers. Aaron has only went for 4 changes, has used up all of his 4 free agent trades. As you can see here, he's swapped out Zapdos Galar for the Regidrago. And I think only Zapdos Galar might have only featured in the one game against Newcastle Thunderous, where it did what it needed to do. It's a defiant one. It took full advantage of those stat drops and just absolutely wrecked house. I can totally understand him swapping it out. And Regidrago does give him good options. With Dragon Energy is really strong if it gets speed control. Then Stantler has obviously gone. Stantler is over. It says the free agent pool, but Stantler is obviously now on the team of Swindon Rookadies. And Aaron has picked up Skuntank from free agency. Skuntank is a phenomenally good bulky Pokemon, and gets access to things like Snarl and a few other good supporting moves, so I can totally understand that one. Has traded out the Marowak for the Gothorita, which I am quite surprised at this one. I know he was wanting something like the Gothitelle, but has went for the Gothorita. It does give him that Shadow Tag ability, which is going to stop teams from switching things out. If he wanted to go down the route of Parasong, I'm not too sure if anything on his team does get Parasong, but if he does have that available to him, it gives him that option. And finally, the Aegislash has switched out for the Frostmoth. Frostmoth does have 2 4x weaknesses, but on the other side of the coin is a phenomenally good Pokemon. Again, some good support moves. Does get Wide Guard as well. Gets the likes of Quiver Dance, and it generally just has a very good typing. It's a very good Pokemon, and I think that's very much an upgrade for Aaron. Anyways, on to our second team. It is the South Croydon Saws. The Saws have changed quite a lot over the course of free agency. You might see here there is a lot of transactions. A few of these are just switching things back and forth. We did make a bit of an oopsie while doing trades, but these things happen. So as you can see at the bottom there, has picked up the Mega Swampert from the Wobbuffet Ninjas in the place of Mega Aggron. So that, of course, is going to work really well next to the Kyogre, with it setting up the rain, going to activate that Swift Swim, and of course it does have that 4x weakness to grass, which I was always very afraid of, but if you can make it work, obviously Kyogre has Ice Beam, so any kind of grass type mons that might pressure Swampert, Kyogre's going to be able to say no, not today. He has switched out the Torracat in the place of Kingler. Kingler, though, as you can see there, has switched out for the Copper Raja. So the Torracat is now on the Knights of Sidonia team. But but I think the Copperage is a very good upgrade because of the next one, which I'm about to talk about, is Mamoswine, which Krizzle unfortunately never really brought to the team, which is quite disappointing to see, but has picked up Pheromosa, which, this thing not only has just ridiculous physical attack, is one of the fastest mons in the game, and gets access to speed swap as well. So not only does he have the option to potentially set up Trick Room for Copperajah, but can also speed swap onto Copperajah as well and make that one fast elephant and very difficult to deal with. Has also picked up Aurorus in place of Honchkrow. So Aurorus is actually came out from the Goomies, but Silly has actually picked up in place, picked it up for Krizzle, so Krizzle didn't use his free agency trade. So Honchkrow has went the other way. So Honchkrow we saw Krizzle using a few times, and as a dark flying type with Moxie, it really put in the work considering it was a D tier. So strong stuff there. Has switched out the Raichu then as well, in place of the Electabuzz. So I'm quite surprised. That's probably the one I'm most surprised at. They're losing out on that Lightning Rod. And the fake out and follow me support. It does surprise me, but I'm sure he has something planned in its place. And finally, has picked up the Salazzle over Conkeldurr. So Conkeldurr, the star of Week 5 for Krizzle against Jabba, has gone to free agency. Has picked up the Salazzle, with its poison fire type. I like Salazzle a lot. He has at least picked up some fake out pressure in Salazzle over Raichu, and is a very strong special attacker. So I do like the Salazzle pick, and I don't blame him for dropping the Conkeldurr as well. Didn't maybe just want to stray away from having too many slow mons on the team. So that is more than fair. Onto our third place team then. It is the Space City PC, but we were not going to go and look at them because Meme has chosen not to make any free agency picks or transfers thus far. So we won't take a look at Meme's team. Instead, we will go to the Tyranitar Tyrants, who have only made the 2 changes then. So has picked up the Diancie Mega from the Swindon Rookadies, Gengar Mega going the other way, and then in the end being dropped by Draco for the Mega Gyarados. And has picked up the Amoonguss over Urshifu Single Strike. So again, we really didn't see very much of Urshifu. I don't think the likes of the Urshifu and Cinderace really lend themselves too well to to Silver's style of play. They're typically fast, physical attackers. They're out to do a lot of damage, and he's looking to stall you out, and they're a bit sort of Cinderace not as much, but Urshifu obviously. The single strike type is 4 times weak to Fairy, so obviously didn't want that weakness. But picking up Amoonguss as well, with its likes of Rage Powder, it's got Spore, it gets Pollen Puff as well, and it's genuinely just one of, if not the best support mons of VGC and Pokemon in general. And knowing Silver has definitely got something up his back pocket with this Amoonguss. I think Diancie Mega as well is a very good trade out from Gengar Mega. Just didn't quite work out for him. It kind of just got bodied every time it came into play. So I totally understand him dropping that one and picking up the Diancie instead, and hopefully he can get some luck with that Diancie then. Onto our next team then, it is the Dogsy's Shadow Kings. Dogsy making a couple of changes then to his team, only the 3. Has dropped up Bisharp for Oranguru. Bisharp, Stunfisk Galar have both not really featured for Dogsy. I don't think they featured at all actually. He's picked up Oranguru and Camerupt in their place. Camerupt does have that anger point ability, so something that something that Dogsy may look to go for. Boost that Camrupt's physical attack to max and really go ham with this thing. It is very slow, don't get me wrong. And is fire rock typing as well, so it is 4 times weak to ground. Does have a lot of weaknesses there, but you let this thing get going and it is really strong. And finally, his final change, he has dropped that Dreadnought, which we saw come out against Latvians Miami Heat, but has picked up Hitmonlee. Now you may remember back in season 1 that Dogsy had Hitmonlee before dropping it at the mid-season point. And I do like that pick, to be honest. Hitmonlee, I don't know that gets Quick Guard and Wide Guard like Hitmon Top does. I want to say it does, but that is a phenomenally good pick. And I totally understand him dropping the Dreadnought. I just didn't want another sort of weakness sat there with Dreadnought. Obviously 4 times weak to grass. So that's a good pick up there for Dogsy, in my opinion. On to the next team then, it is Silly's Long Island Goomies. So again, Silly making a couple of changes. Has again, like we saw earlier, has helped out his fellow man. Picked up the Aurorus over Carbink so that he could trade to Krizzle for that Honchkrow. Has picked up the Camerupt Mega to trade over to the Knights of Sidonia for the Lucario Mega. So Silly now has the Lucario Mega after dropping the Salamence for the Camerupt and then getting the Lucario. Has also dropped Sandy Wormadam for Stonejourner, which is a really, really big pickup. You know, Stonejourner with its power spot has that high physical defense as well. Not the greatest special defense, but that power spot can be really, really useful, especially paired with something like the Mega Lucario, or you know, like the Xerneas. You know, imagine Geomancy boosted Xerneas with Stonejourner sat next to it. I don't even want to imagine it. That already gives me friggin' nightmares. So a really good pickups there for Silly as well. Really, really like those. Up next then is going to be the Ninjas. The Wobbuffet Ninjas making quite a fair few changes as well. As you can see, we already spoke about 2 changes. Swampert Mega has went to South Croydon Saws in the return. Aggron Mega has swapped over to the Ninjas. And Melmetal has gone to the Rookadies. And we got Genesect back in return. But as you can see there, traded out the Genesect for the Tapu Fini. Wanted that, you know, those support moves on the Tapu Fini that make it just so useful to have, and obviously that Misty Surge as well going to block those status moves. You know, the likes of the burns and things being a problem, and you know, Carmine Fini can be so good if they're not expecting it. So I do like the sort of flexibility it gives. Hatterini has gone for Togetic. I just really needed Follow Me, and Togetic was the next best thing. You know, with Eviolite, this thing is so bulky. You know, it's just baby Togekiss essentially. Gets the same move pool with like the likes of Tailwind, Follow Me, Encore, things like that. That can make it just a real big problem. It is quite slow compared to the Togekiss, but you know, considering what it does, I don't really need it to be fast. And I've also dropped Volcanion for the Raikou. I really like Raikou. I really wanted one of the Johto dogs. Of course, the Entei is over on the Scuba Squirtles and Suicune is over on Newcastle Thunderous. Had no luck getting either of them, so I had to go for the Raikou, and I really do like this thing. You know, it's a very strong special attack. It's very fast, and does pair well into a couple of my monsters. You know, give it Thunder next to, you know, Politoed with the Rain. It's going to really hit hard. And finally, then, because I got the Mega Aggron, and that meant I had a lot of extra spare points over, it enabled me to get the Murkrow for the Sableye. So I'd say this is an upgrade. They're both Prankster. Murkrow does also get Quash like Sableye does. But Murkrow does get a whole host of other status moves that really benefit from Prankster. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons why this thing was S tier. Because it's just ridiculous. You know, it gets Prankster Tailwind, Prankster Taunt. You know, you name it, it's got it, and it's going to be a nuisance for people, I'm hoping. So I'm quite happy with that, and I'm quite happy with the changes I've made in general as well. So we'll see how we do in the second half of the season. Up next then, we'll go take a look at Dave's Newcastle Thunderer. So a few changes here on Dave's side. Has dropped the Dramper for the Vikavolt. You know, Vikavolt we've seen in both the first 2 seasons of the British Pokemon League. First, we've seen the Aurora Arcuno using it under Trick Room, and then Draco able to use the Vikavolt a few times last season as well to much success. Very strong special attacking mon, and does hit very hard. Chosen to drop the Carnivine as well. Carnivine not featuring at all for the Newcastle Thunderous. I can totally understand that one when it wasn't really doing anything. Has picked up Jumpluff. I'll be completely honest with you, I don't know what Jumpluff does, but Dave obviously knows what he's doing with it, so I'll trust. And Dave expressed some frustration with Sableye Mega, obviously losing its Prankster ability once it Megas. So, you know, it hasn't really featured since week 2. And picked up Banette Mega. Now, this thing does get Prankster when it Megas, and oh my lord, if you thought Murkrow's Prankster moves were good, this thing's Prankster moves are even better. This thing gets it gets Trick, it gets Trick Room, it gets Cotton Guard. What else? It gets Pain Split, it gets Screech. Its status move pool is crazy, and then it also has phenomenally high physical attack. I think it's about 165 base, which paired with Prankster Curse, I mean, goddamn, this thing can hit really hard as well. So I really like that pickup for Dave as well. So that's very, very scary in that regard. Dave's team looking even better somehow. So it's going to be really exciting to see how he does in the second half of the season. Then up next, we'll take a look at the Scuba Squirtles then. So Niels has made a couple of changes to the lineup. Only the two. Has dropped the Blastoise Mega for an Ash Greninja. I'm a little bit surprised at that one, just because of the follow me and fake out pressure that Blastoise Mega gives. You know, I think it gives the team good versatility, and can allow, you know, a mon next to Blastoise Mega to set up, just because Blastoise Mega is just so bulky. But again, I trust Niels, and you know, Ash Greninja is very good. Obviously, it does require extra setup, but whereas the other Megas, you need to give them the Mega Stone. Ash Greninja, you can give any sort of item. It obviously gains its Mega ability thanks to Battle Bond, so it needs to gain a kill with Battle Bond. And finally, has dropped the Giratina for Ho-Oh. You know, we didn't really see Lat use Giratina all that much, apart from in week 1, where it kind of got bodied a bit, and just went for the Ho-Oh as well. And Ho-Oh is incredibly bulky, pretty high HP stat, and very, very high special defense stat. You know, it is basically just flying fire type Kyogre. And, you know, paired it with the right mon, that Ho-Oh can be really good. You know, something, you know, extra bulky next to it, you know, can really make it a useful tool to have. You know, it does have that 4x rock weakness, but that's, I wouldn't worry about that too much. You know what I mean? If you've got something to take care of, you know, any mons that might, you know, threaten that Ho-Oh, then it's in a really good position. So that's a good pickup. And of course, I said there is still another 2 hours until the window closes. Next up, it is the Knights of Sidonia, also making quite a few changes. So it has picked up the Jirachi from California Bastiodons, dropping the T-Tar that we've seen Jabby use 2 seasons in a row. So Jirachi, obviously, a lot like Mew and other sort of mythicals, has 100 HP stats across the board. So it's very, very versatile in that regard, and of course does get Follow Me. Has picked up Torracat in place of Kinglet from the South Croydon Saws, and has picked up the Camerupt Mega from the Long Island Goomies. Well, obviously from free agency, as we spoke about earlier. You know, that Camerupt is going to do work, and the one that he's picked up next as well, Fletchinder, has dropped for Maractus. Obviously Maractus for that Storm Drain, that's going to sort of, you know, lower one of Camerupt Mega's weaknesses, and this thing, oh man, is very, very strong. If you thought regular Camerupt was good, this thing is next level. Has dropped the Alolan Marowak for Zekatry, which I am quite surprised at, to be honest. But having said that, Zekatry has ridiculously high special attack and a pretty sort of variable move pool as well. You know, gets grass moves, gets fairy moves, obviously gets electric moves. So I can totally understand that one as well. You know, that's going to pair up really well with the rest of his team. And obviously, like the likes of Jirachi, you know, with that Follow Me, allow Zekatry to get set up. Has dropped Bronzor for the Azumarill, so giving him some extra water type coverage. Obviously gets the legs Aqua Jet, gets fairy type moves, Azumarill, so something else in his arsenal. And finally, he dropped Serperia for Mudsdale. We saw how much of a threat Mudsdale was last season in Crizzle South Croydon Saws team. Obviously with own tempo and stamina, its main sort of problematic abilities. Stamina, obviously, every time it takes a hit, gives itself a defense boost. Or own tempo is obviously immune to confusion. You can hit this thing with a swagger, and Mudsdale can really tear through a team. So, very nice pickups there for the Knights of Sidonia. Do like that. And finally, then to round out our teams, I haven't missed anyone, have I? No, I haven't. Round out our teams. It is the California Bastiodons. Oma making a couple of changes to the team. As I said, 2 of them there. We've already spoke about the Salazzle. Going over to Crizzle, obviously Oma using one of his free agent trades to help him out. You can see he's dropped Comfey to get the Conkeldurr, to get the Salazzle, and then traded Conkeldurr back to get Comfey back. So he's kept Comfey. So the only 2 trades, the changes he's made, really, he has dropped the T-Tar that he gained from Jirachi to get Urshifu Rapid Strike. You know, of course, Oma had Urshifu Rapid Strike last season. So again, picking up a mon he's familiar with, you know, playing to his strengths, and that's what Oma does. A lot of the mons on his team are ones he's familiar with. You know, his team might have a lot of weaknesses, but Oma knows how to use the team. He knows pretty much in and out, and it's very flexible with it. And his final change has dropped the Basculin for his mascot Pokemon Bastiodon. That's fair enough, to be honest. I don't know exactly what Bastiodon can do. You know, I've not really seen it in a competitive format for a while. But, you know, I'm sure, again, Oma will have something up his sleeve then. So then, boys and girls, let's take a quick look at the league table then. As you can see, Inglorious Surfers perched atop of the British Pokemon League on the 5-0 record, closely followed behind by South Croydon Saws on the 4-1, and then Tyrants in 3rd place. Space City PC in 4th as well. You see, Tyrants have played their extra game, so I won't spoil who they played, but you can probably work it out if you look at the league table closely enough. You'll see in a little bit about the schedule. That is my bad. I shouldn't have confirmed that match on the moderator screen to spoil that, but not to worry. In 5th place, Long Island Goomies getting that all-important win over Dogsy Shadow Kings, moving up to 3-2 record, on a positive record going into the mid-season break. Then Shadow Kings on the 3-3 now. 2 losses in a row for Dogsy. Obviously not what he wanted, but he has made a very phenomenally good start of the season, so I'm sure Dogsy are going to bounce back. Scuba Squirtles getting that win over the Tyrants this week then. Moving up to 2-3, so that's always a good start for Niels, a positive start. And a good start of life in the British Pokemon League. Keeps him in those playoff positions. And Newcastle Thunderous getting that 2-0 win over the Bastiodons keeps Dave's Newcastle team in 8th place, just ahead on match difference over the Wobbuffet Ninjas, also on a 2-3 record. But down at the bottom then, Swindon Rookadies, Knights of Sidonia and the Bastiodons all on a 1-4 record. Rookadies on -4, Knights of Sidonia on -5, and Bastiodons on -6 for a match record. Very, very tight is what I will say. Between like 3rd or 4th and 9th, there is 1 game in it. So next week, it could be all change. But let's take a quick look at next week's schedule then. Week number 6 of the British Pokemon League. As you can see there then, that is spoilers. Just ignore that. The Tyrants did take on the Shadow Kings. You will see highlights of that match on next week's show. But first up, we have got yet another relegation 6-pointer for the Ninjas and the California Bastiodons as they take on each other. Played each other twice last season, with Matt coming out on top both times. Then Niels has to take on Meme's Space City PC team, so another chance for Niels to prove his worth. Being the new boy in the league. Can see if he can make it 2 wins in a row, and Meme gonna look to bounce back to that after that defeat to Aaron's Inglorious Surface. Speaking of Aaron though, the match that everyone has been waiting for, everyone is talking about, it is the Inglorious Surface taking on South Croydon Saws. First versus second, it is a rematch of our Season 2 Playoffs Grand Final. We all know how that one went. Will it end the same, or will Crizzle get that revenge? We will find out. Then we have got the Knights of Sidonia taking on Long Island Goomies. These two shared match wins against each other last season, so I expect this one to be a close one, but Silly is on a hell of a tear this season, and Jabba's really going to have to be his best to stop that Xerneas. And finally, finishing out the week, it is Newcastle Thunderous versus Swindon Rookadies, and again, 4 teams, Bastiodons, Ninjas, Newcastle and Swindon Rookadies, with big relegation 6-pointers, and this is another big one for both Newcastle and Swindon. Swindon really needing to get that win to keep in that fight for playoffs, and Dave going to need to keep those wins rolling to keep himself in that fight for playoffs as well, so all very close down at the bottom. But that is going to do it for today's show, boys and girls. I hope you've had a lot of fun. It has been a lot of fun coming for me to host. I do apologise for my throat absolutely dying halfway through the show there. It's very, very dry in my apartment right now. Hopefully we will get something on the walls next week. We'll see. So we stop with this very, very white wall. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop waffling on. I've been your host, Matt Star. Tune in next week, Monday, 8 o'clock, here on twitch.tv/British Pokemon League for the Week 6 show, and you can see all those free agent trades, those mid-season transfers in action. But that'll do us all for now. See you all next time. Goodbye and good night. Mwah!